All right, everyone was seen. We are the Soca Analysts. And I can't believe it, but I'm here with two amazing people. We got DJ Gel, the Soca boss, once again. And we got Klassik Frescobar, known Klassik for a number of years now.
Yes.
Amazing artist.
Thank you.
Someone who not just, he doesn't only make music, but also talks a lot about Caribbean culture.
Yes.
And is very big on pushing things forward. And I'm happy to have you here today, brother.
I'm glad to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So without further ado, let we pull up.
The Soca Analysts. Caribbean culture to the world.
We back again. Yo, White Oak. You see it? Gel. Yeah, Gel. You gotta be the face, not me. You gotta be the face, bro.
My people at Angostura Limited. Today we drinking White Oak, the grapefruit edition. Best thing anyway.
We drinking White Oak. We drinking White Oak, but I think Klassik on that Henny flow right now.
Yeah, I got my little hand.
All right, we in it. Cheers. So, yeah,
I need an orange juice though.
Yo, that's actually, like, for Guyanese people, the biggest thing is fucking Henny and ginger ale, bro.
Yeah.
That's like, I remember the first time I drank Hennessy, my brother was like, yeah, Rich, I'm gonna tell you something. No, the classic thing you gotta mix this thing with is ginger ale. But before you do that, I remember I was 18, it was the first time I drank Henny. He was like, if you wanna have the rite of passage, like, literally, this is exactly how he talks. He, like, got mad serious. He's like, Rich, if you wanna have the rite of passage, you gotta get through drinking Hennessy just by itself on the rocks with nothing. So he poured it, and he's like, and I like got ready to drink it. He's like, wait, you're not ready yet. He's like, I'm gonna give you one piece of advice, and I've said this on the podcast before. You heard my brother Ricky. He was like, Rich, if I tell you anything in life and you listen to this. He's like, if you disrespect Hennessy, Hennessy will disrespect you. And I was like, what? What does that mean? He's like, you're not gonna understand it yet. He's like, let me stop you. You're not gonna. He put his hand on my shoulder, and you're not gonna understand it yet. He's like,
that's some good advice.
He's like, but let me paint a picture. You ever see those people in the club and they got fucking bottles of Henny and they're just fucking drinking straight from the bottle and chugging their alcohol? How do you see them at the end of the night? And I was like, oh. He's like, one of two scenarios. Usually they're fucking passed out on the sidewalk or on a bench, or they're in the hospital because they got into a fight. You know what they went wrong? You know why they went wrong? And I'm like, what? He's like, they disrespected the Hennessy. So the Hennessy disrespected them. This is a fine drink, Rich. You're supposed to sip it, appreciate it, enjoy it. You could get drunk as you want, but as long as you respect it, it'll respect you. It'll treat you nice.
That's some good advice.
No, but it's hilarious. My older brother told me the same exact fucking thing. Nah, somebody at Hennessy in the marketing department came up with this shit to tell people.
It had to be.
Because there's no way.
It's something, man. I don't know. So it's either that or it's like Hennessy has just seeped into the collective conscious, bro. And like on a deeper level.
I never got no drinking speech. First time I drank was a backyard party in the Bronx. And I remember,
how old were you?
I think I was probably like 15. For a Caribbean person, that's late.
I was not gonna say, but you lived in Jamaica too. You wasn't drinking Ray and all
No,
them things before.
I grew up uptown. Listen,
that church boy, or?
Yeah, I grew up in a very good neighborhood, good school. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things that, I don't know, certain people's experience is different from mine. But like as far as drinking, man, I was at backyard party and I just remember we went to go take the drinks. And this Jamaican lady said, no, you're not for drink. And then this Rasta man said, let them drink, man. Let the youth them drink. So he mixed us like rum and orange juice and we're sipping it. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then somewhere along the line, we stole the bottle.
You remember what kind of rum? It was Ray?
It's probably Ray.
Overproof.
Definitely Ray. So we stole the Ray bottle and we was just drinking it. It took us about 2 hours to get home, walking. Mind you, we lived 5 minutes away. We was fucked up. We was fucked.
Yo, so it's funny that you say that, right? Because the first time I actually drank, I didn't have a drinking conversation. I think because the first time I actually drank, I was 14. You know what happened? I didn't disrespect Henny, but I disrespected Johnny. Oh. And Johnny didn't have me fucking walking, bro. Johnny had me stumbling. It was not Johnny Walker. It was Richard's fucking stumbling home and getting beat by his fucking mom. That's what happened, bro.
Where you had the Johnny Walker, though?
You're in high school, bro, and like you go to like some fucking little garage party or backyard thing. You know what I mean?
I try to stay away from alcohol that got two names. You know what I'm saying? Johnny and his Walker, Ray and his nephew. Like When it's 2 against 1, it's
Whites and it's
unfair.
okay.
White and it's
You know
okay.
what I'm saying? It's 2 against 1. That's not good odds.
So because Hennessy have one name.
Yeah, one name. It's 1-on-1. I feel like it's a fair fight.
Hennessy, what? Macallan. Casamigos is technically one word.
That's a fan. That's Casa and his Migos, bro. I'm good. I've never had a good experience off of Casa. I remember it was like the big thing in like what 2020.
Yeah.
So me and my boy were just like, we're just gonna do a Casa weekend. He totaled his car.
Oh shit.
I cracked my spoiler, and I blacked out at a party. And then the next day, some girl was mad at me because apparently I think I like was super into her or something. And if sober mind, I don't know who the hell she was. So she was, so yeah.
That's fucking yo. You know how many
hilarious.
times that's happened to me though? Where I've gotten drunk as hell and like spoke like Jell could tell you, bro. I've gotten drunk. I've spoken to someone for like 20, 30 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, bro, I know you. Like you're my fucking brother, bro. like one of those drunk conversations.
And here, Richard, the end of it. Jill, who is that?
Bro, that's wild.
Or like next day, like they'll come up to me like Rich, and I'll be like kind of a little fuzzy, and I'm like, and then they will jog my memory. They'll be like, yeah, like remember we were talking about, and then I'll be like, and then it'll be like unlocked memory, like
Yo, my
Oh!
boy, I don't remember like at least 4 hours out of that day. My boy had to fill me in on 4 hours of events, and I was just like, wow, nice.
So like you had a time with the casa, but Navagi.
Never Casa. It never turns out good.
I'm not
Never.
a big fan of how it tastes. I feel like it was just one of those things where like because people couldn't get access to Patron immediately in 2020, they were just like, let's do Casamigos, and then from there it just kind of
I feel like
blew up on its own. I don't know.
if
At
I
least
could
in New York.
imagine what bug spray tastes like,
Yeah.
that's what Casa tastes like.
Actually, you're
Honestly,
not
it
too.
does taste poisonous.
Yeah, you're not too far. Like,
Yeah.
you're not too far. Like, and you know, I could always judge it too because, like, if you can drink something by itself, like Hennessy, I can drink by itself.
Yes.
I could put Hennessy on ice.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
you know, same thing. I could sip on it and enjoy myself. White oak, believe it or not, even if it's the unflavored white oak, I could put white oak in ice and maybe just put like a small splash of water. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it still has that
Yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah.
alcohol taste, but I could
Still
do
drink
it.
it,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Because it's still smooth.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still
Casa
smooth.
on the other hand,
Bro.
rough like the waves in the ocean.
Yes. Like,
Casa's marketing team is excellent
Yeah.
I must
because
say.
the way we talking about Casa is
Yeah.
not the way it was presented
No,
to
of course
me.
not.
Like everyone makes it seem like it was the best thing to ever happen to them, and I'm like, y'all drink this? This is just full of it just tastes sharp.
And they charging big price for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. I'm trying to think like craziest thing I ever drank, period.
Babash.
Yes, I was that was actually going to be
what's
so
babash? Like
Babash is
moonshine?
like
Yeah,
is,
it's Trinidad's version of
It's
moonshine.
it's made from like a bush, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like fermented bush.
And it's illegal as well. By the
Yeah.
way. So you
I need to
actually
try
not allowed
that.
to make it.
I tried it. I tried a little bit, and when I went to Trinidad, my first time ever I went to Trinidad, I think was like 2014 or 2015, and I stayed by my aunt's house down in Palm East, and really nice thing, and they just happened to have some, like they just had it in a corner, and then they were like, yo, you want to try a little bit? And I was like, yo, what?
It's up.
So I was like, all right, but I was like, yo, I mean, I took one smell and I felt my eyebrows were gonna fucking burn off, like when just opening the bottle. And
That's
going
how
like
I
this.
felt when I first drank Rivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Grenada rum was
wicked.
like that.
I heard stuff.
was-
That
about it.
and
wicked.
Klaxcoat is not bad, but Rivers.
Yeah.
You know what make Rivers more wicked? Grenadians are generous. Like they're the nicest people, right? So I remember this girl. It was Miami Carnival. She took off her flag, Grenadian flag, and put it on my neck, and I always kept it until I lost it. I'm sorry, but it lasted like 2 years, right? And I'd wear it places, and Grenadians be like, "Yo, take a drink, da da da." Drank the Rivers, boy. I was on the wave for real. I was on that river. That was wicked, boy. I feel like
Where he was on the Carnival ingredient.
son, I feel like that should come with a disclaimer, a speech. You feel me? A spirit animal. Like people need to like, bro. That's not something. And they casually drink it.
Yeah.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
That's
So-
like Vincent Jones with Sunset.
I was just
Oh,
gonna say
Sunset
that.
is-
Sunset tastes better
Wicked
in my
too.
opinion.
Sunset is lethal too.
Yeah.
Them
But
two.
there's a way to drink it though.
What's the way?
If you have Vincent Jones friend and show you how to drink it, they don't like you. You have to drink it with tonic water.
Yeah.
Must. Nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
No juice, no soda, tonic water.
You know, everybody always gives me like their local
Their
drink.
way of doing it. So the
Yeah.
way that I learned about it for White Oak was with the drink that we first started drinking when the Soca Analyst became like a thing back in like 2016. It was white oak, coconut water, and bitters. And I forgot exactly why I started doing it. I think it was because when I went to Trinidad that first time and I had white oak, someone was like, "Yo, throw some coconut water in it," right? Yeah. So first I had it with coconut water because I just think we didn't have access to regular water. And they're like, "Yo, fuck that, we in fucking Trinidad with coconut water." And then my uncle came in, he was like, "Nah, boy, come." And then he brought his bitters and he's like, "Put 2 drops of this." And then he was like, "You see this? This is how we cure cold back in the day." And I was like, "Yo." So then I knew it was like a legit thing when I met Loverboy's dad when he came to New York, and we had a bottle of white oak, and I'm like, "Pops, you want a drink?" He's like, "Nah, I good. He's like, "Go ahead, you guys go." So I poured some white oak, coconut water, and bitters. I brought it in a little bag, and he's like, "Where, boy? Where you from?" I'm like, "I'm actually Guyanese." He's like, "Dan, this is what we used to drink to cure cold." And I'm like, "Yo, this is fucking legit. It's fucking legit." And then me and Jel, that's how we like the white oak became a thing with the Soca Analyst, because whenever Jel would come over, we talk about Soca music. Whenever Kendricks would come, that was like our drink, our signature drink. And back then we didn't have a lot of money either, right? We were like fresh out of school and stuff, so white oak was like the one thing we could afford from the liquor store for like, $20-$25 or whatever.
Less than that.
Less than that.
White oak is going for $14.99 at the second.
Wow. Yeah.
I told my boy in Trinidad, alcohol cheaper than water.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh, and
It
you
is.
went viral for that, Everyone in Trinidad asking what alcohol he was buying in Trinidad. That
Nah,
cheap,
listen. I went to so I forgot what supermarket I was at. But the water aisle and the alcohol aisle are on the same aisle, so you can literally see
So that might be
alcohol,
like a true
water.
value.
What is happening here, bro? Even when I like just go into like bars and stuff, I'll see a cocktail and be like, "All right, I gotta be like a $20 drink." It'll come up to like $7 US. I'm like, "Y'all trying to die?"
And beers is $2 US.
Yo, Stag, right? So I don't know if I told you, I think you met us there that same night.
By Pub House.
Pub House. So big up to Pub House, right? That's my personal favorite liming spot on the avenue, right? I don't know if you've ever been Klassik, but like if you go to our Pizza Avenue, there's a bar on the left hand side of the street called
You never
Pub
went
House.
Frankie's?
Yeah.
So right opposite Frankie's.
Yeah,
is
across
Pub
the
House.
street.
I went.
It's the raised bar.
So
Yeah,
I
it
do
have
got
a
a
deck
story
and a
about
deck.
that. So I do have a
Everybody
story.
has a story from Pub House, bro.
Not even a pub house. So I was on the Ave and I was with this chick and I was just like, "Yo, listen, we're gonna take a shot at every bar and then work our way back." Needless to say, we didn't work our way back, but like it was white oak. We saw at Frankie's and worked up. Boy, that was and it was cheap. Like by the end of the night, I didn't even spend that much money, and I feel like that would have been an arm and a dick in America.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, drinking in Trinidad is
great, bro.
definitely
It's not for
It's
the
great.
weak.
But the thing is too, like
Boy.
when we did that, like the last time we went to Trinidad, right? When we did the beach line with Jono and Jel met up with us after, right? So like the thing is, like in Trinidad, whenever we go, like I'll drink white oak like at a Fed, but if I'm just chilling, I would just have Stags, right? And me and Savannah realized one thing. It's like when we drink like that one day, bro, we probably had like anywhere between 10 to 15 beers each, like throughout the whole day. It was like we had 7 at Las Cuevas, and then we met up with Jel and we went to Cookin' Vibes. Big up to Cookin' Vibes, like one of my favorite bar spots too. And bro, it was 4 of us, and we ordered so many beers. Like anytime one of us would get up, we would just order a beer to the point where we had beer traffic.
Yeah, beer traffic.
Literally.
is
So like we had a
hilarious.
beer and you would be halfway through it, and at that point it was warm. So we're like, you know what? Fuck it. Like take the next one because the beers are so cheap. It's like $2 a stag. Bro, we did that. We had so much food. We probably had like 20 bottles of beer total, maybe more. And our bill was like probably maybe like 60 to 80 US, bro, for all 4 of us.
You could drink so much in
And
Trinidad
eat
for cheap.
and like, but you know what I realized too is like because of that, like the difference between like that and here is like because of that, like the how affordable alcohol is, how affordable Cutters is, it actually promotes a culture of like
Alcoholism?
getting. Well, I would say I wouldn't necessarily say alcoholism. I would say it promotes a culture of like social gathering.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like
alcohol,
our liming culture.
Like,
Yeah,
exactly.
Like even
Like-
now in this podcast, technically we are
Yeah,
liming
yeah.
up and wrong.
like literally,
Talking.
because I feel like here's the thing, because like people do want to say like, oh, like the affordability of alcohol makes people alcoholics, which I don't think it's necessarily true, bro. Because you could go to countries.
I wouldn't agree with that.
You know, I don't agree with it either. You could go to countries where it's like alcohol is mad expensive and they're still fucking alcoholics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is like super random, but I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, right? And he was just like this neuroscientist talking. They told me they did a study with like a group of like fucking chimps.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say they had 100 chimps,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they gave them access to alcohol. Not they forced them. They gave them access to alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
All 100 of these chimps have never had alcohol before, right?
Mm-hmm.
They said it was crazy because the trend of which chimps became alcoholics versus regular chimps exactly mimicked the statistical curve you see for humans.
Okay.
So if you put 100 chimps, right? This is how it was like a bell curve. It was like that. So it'd be like in this end over here, right? You have chimps that just did not fuck with alcohol,
Okay.
are like, yo, I don't drink, I don't enjoy it, it's not for me.
Okay.
Whatever. They just didn't fuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
The vast majority of them in the middle were they drank it casually.
Mm-hmm.
So they would drink a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
kind of get a little fucked up and be like, all right, boy, I good.
Mhm.
And they would take a sleep.
Yeah.
And then they would chill out, not really drink for a little bit. And then if the other chimps kind of got together and kind of invited that one, was like,
Yeah.
hey, come over here. Like, let's do this social gathering.
Yeah.
Then they'll be like, yeah, cool. And then they had this set of chimps over here, like, again, minority population, that just became insane alcoholics, bro.
Mhm.
Like, couldn't fucking function,
Mm-hmm.
couldn't go to, like, couldn't do the things that would be okay in, like, fucking chimp society, whatever
Okay.
that may be, like
Mhm.
grooming each other or talking, or they just
Yeah.
wanted to fucking get drunk all the time. To the point where, like, they knew it was to their own detriment, but they couldn't even control it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, I don't want to say, like, alcoholism is purely genetic. I think it plays a role. But there is something about, you know, how alcohol affects people
Yeah.
and how some people could just be, like, predisposed to it.
Yeah.
So that's why I get kind of mad, because I feel like when I've dated other people, like, outside of the culture, like non-Caribbean women and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Who don't get it. They only see, like, the surface thing.
Yeah.
And they would, like, get kind of pissed at me and be like, yo, this whole thing is just a culture of fucking drinking and whining and all this. Like, what is this fucking bullshit? Especially, like, when you date, like people who are like from like East Indian or Pakistani or Bangladesh, who know, like, all the original songs that all the chutney songs are based off of.
Okay.
So you could have, like, a really beautiful, like, Indian love song, and a chutney artist will make another song and, like, turn it to be completely about rum.
Okay.
And, like, East Indian people, when they hear that, they'll get, like, fucking mad, bro. Because they'll be like, why would you take something so incredibly beautiful and fucking turn it into this? Which, to a degree, I get, right? But, like, the same thing, I'm like, I know we have, like, drinking problems in the Caribbean, but I'm also, like, one of the things that people don't give us enough credit for, and I specifically, like, think, like, Jamaica, Trinidad, and, you know, Guyana too, and a lot of the other islands, is that they value being able to actually spend time with people.
Yeah.
It's not just fucking work money, the grind hustle, like
Mhm.
how it is here in New York, to the point where,
Oh, you think it's bad in New York? You need to go to Florida.
yeah, I mean, I hear stories, but I'm sure
It's now the most expensive state to live in.
which is so crazy, bro. You know, shit is wild. But
But yeah, I agree with you. There's that sense of community within the Caribbean, and I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to us, is the warmth that we have and our emphasis on the culture of, you know, liming and togetherness. Not everything has to be about work or what you do.
And then with outsiders, we also want them to be involved. Like, oh, Erwa, come and see what this is about. Try it out. Let me know if you vibe with it or you don't. 9 times out of 10, you do. If you don't, I'm not gonna invite you again.
yeah.
But we do try to include people in what's going on. You know what I mean? And people do appreciate what we do.
It's good to hear that. So for you, I want you to. I'm always interested whenever, like, I talk to people, you know, like, you know, from the islands and from the, like, paints a picture for me. Take me all the way back to the beginning, I guess, before Klassik was Klassik, right? What was it like for you? What was, you know, growing up and everything like? And then tell us, like, a little bit what made you decide to get into music. And
I know you're kind of stigmatized too, because my boy's from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Chill. It'd be easy on the Bronx talk.
Big up everyone from the Bronx.
But just one side note, the Bronx actually has the second largest population of Guyanese people, because if they couldn't afford to come to Queens, they usually went to the Bronx. So there's usually, like, there's mad people. Like, I remember, like, my uncles coming up, it'd be like 8 of them in an apartment when they first came to America, bro. And, like, some of them stayed, made a life, and they're cool with it just because it became a second home. But There's a lot of Caribbean things going on in the Bronx. People like always talk about Queens and Brooklyn, but there's a lot of us in the Bronx too.
Nah, I think all the boroughs. Well, I don't know about.
I don't know Staten Island. I mean,
I
maybe
think most of the boroughs, most of the important boroughs,
Staten Islanders in
have
general,
a Caribbean
bro.
presence,
The general consensus or the general stereotype of Staten Island is that the Islanders don't even fuck with people from other boroughs. Like, so race plays a role.
To me, Staten Island's just mini Jersey. I'm sorry.
I mean, huge Italian population, right? There's a lot of mafia stuff going on out there too. Like the mafia families, they set their mansions and shit up out there. But like, I have like relatives that work out there, and they're like, "Yo, if you're from Queens and you move to Staten Island, and they find out you're from Queens, your neighbors like kind of don't want to fuck with you, bro."
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty. There are people from that island who have never left that island.
Yep.
Like, grew up there, got a job there. So like, their groceries there, their local bar is there. They met their partner there, and they're like, I don't have to fucking leave the island. And like, there are some people who've literally never left. It's crazy to think about that, right?
I
I
mean,
mean,
live
but
in New York.
Unless maybe they have to go to JFK, but I mean, aside from that, if they've never been on a flight, which I'm sure there are some people in Silent who've never been on a plane, bro.
I mean, there's people like that everywhere, bro, and
Yeah.
in almost every borough. So I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But Klassik, let me hear about you and
Yeah.
your upbringing in the Bronx.
But well, I grew up in Jamaica, Constant Spring, Uptown. My grandparents, they were church people. Very strict church people for the most part. So my mom and dad, they lived in New York, so I was with my grandparents, and they, even though they were strict church people, they were musical people. So I grew up with music being played nonstop. There's the radio is always on, it never turns off. I sang at church. Went to a good school, and then I don't know, I just wanted to be with my mother. So instead of going to high school in Jamaica, I went to high school in the U.S. I went to high school in the Bronx. I went to Mount St. Michael, Catholic all boys school. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have the perception that the Bronx is this, I don't know, like Kuwait basically. But I can only speak from my living experiences and so on and so forth, especially in my upbringing. Like, bro, like I feel like people forget that Brownsville in the 2000s exists. East New York was pretty rough. Like the narrative. It's so interesting to see the narrative growing up used to be like, yo, I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm rough and I'm tough and I'm bad. Like, songs are like that, you know what I'm saying? So it's always interesting to see people from outside boroughs be like, oh, you're from here? I'm like, nigga, you was just from hell 2 years ago. No, I'm just speaking from what people would tell me.
Before it got gentrified.
You know what I'm saying?
Because Bed-Stuy,
you know what I'm saying? So
New York.
it's very interesting to hear that narrative, and a lot of it isn't even backed up by stats. Like, a lot of the crime per square mile in different boroughs, and I don't want to throw nobody out there because I'm not into the borough beef. That's corny. We're grown. But per square mile, the crime rate in certain boroughs are way higher than the Bronx. So but I understand why the Bronx got the stigma because of social media and drill rap. You know what I'm saying? These kids, because that's really when it flipped. Like the whole Bronx talk, it was just like, I guess people see the drill stuff and think that it's like that all the time. But I'm sure, like I grew up uptown. That's a little Jamaica. Like we don't really, stuff like that don't really, it happens, but that experience of what that drill stuff is not an everyday thing where I'm from. Don't get me wrong. Not just the Bronx, but I feel New York had a robbery culture. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody knows that grew up in New York knows, like you could get robbed for your sidekick, robbed for your jacket. You know what I'm saying? Robbed. You know what I'm saying? So
especially in the early 2000s.
Yeah, like there was a robbery culture.
Especially when the iPhone came out and everybody wanted an iPhone.
Yeah.
People was getting robbed for any little thing.
So like growing up, I have to say, if you wanted to be outside, like have a social life, you wanted to wear what you wanted to wear, drive what you wanted to drive, go where you wanted to go, you had to be prepared to do certain things. You feel me? You couldn't just because you could get robbed. You feel me?
What are these certain things? Because our listeners want to know.
I mean, you know, you gonna have to fight for your stuff. Straight up, someone's gonna try you for your stuff, and you're gonna have to fight about it. Now, whether you go with your hands, a knife, or a gun is your choice. But if you want to keep your stuff, you gonna have to be about that. You know what I'm saying?
And I remember too, like, not to go here, but I also remember too, like, that was just like a general thing, like, especially in the 2000s in New York, where, like, because back, you know, like, you know how it was too. That's how it was. It was like the 50 Cent, Eminem, the Ja Rule stuff that was happening, and then everything before that too. Everything was always like, yo, you had to choose a side.
MOP made a song called Annie Up. Robin Hood series. It's about robbing. Like New York had a big robbery culture.
Like, you don't really see people, like, kids walking home from school like nowadays in New York, like getting jumped and getting robbed.
Bro, these kids walking around with like, Supreme.
That's what I said.
Louis Vuitton. Yeah, they got punched out that.
and it was the same thing. Like, I mean, I lived in like a pretty good part of Queens, like where I was in terms of like being in South Ozone, like specifically in Wakefield. But like the minute I went to like, let's say Liberty, and I went into like one of those side streets, if I was wearing. Back then, it was like Jordans, G-Unit, any of that stuff. I remember, like, I went one time, I was maybe like 11. My mom bought it for me because I went to school with all white people, so all the white kids around me were like, wouldn't really fuck with you because their parents were wealthy. Yeah. And they, like, you had to, like, have these things. So, like, I remember my mom one time bought me, like, she bought me Fat Farm, I think it was. And it was probably like a $200 or $150 outfit back then. Yeah. And back then I was like a lot of fucking money. Yeah. You know what I mean? It wasn't like today where $100.
Especially as like a teen.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like she, you know, I like begged her for it. She went and she bought it for me. And I remember like walking around one day with it, and it was like pressure. It was like, bro, it's pressure. Like people looking. And then after that I was like, yo, I don't really know if I want to wear this because exactly like you said, like you have to like be prepared.
I used to have a North Face jacket, and my North Face jacket probably like $300, $400. My mom got it for me. I used to walk around a box cutter. You want it? Come take it. If you can get it from me, it's yours, bro. But you gonna catch some. You gonna catch some of that. You feel me? And it's very interesting. Like obviously, I travel now, I tour now. When I talk about things like that, I realize that it is unique to certain places. Like certain people in certain places have never experienced that and can't even fathom having to go through things like that. But yeah, that's what it was like in my teens. You know, I wanted to be outside, so it was lit. I was fighting before I knew how to fight, and there is, you know, an art of fighting. There's a practicality of fighting. And, you know, and that makes a huge difference. But I was throwing down, bro. Like, you gonna get got. And you got to walk around with like six deep. Sometimes, and I've seen, I don't really know if they do this as much. It might pop up on the internet sometimes. But I remember having to go home past Edenwald Projects this way. And it's going to be 10 of them and 10 of us. And it's up. And you brawl, and then you see them next week. You know what I'm saying? Like fighting was just ingrained in the experience, but no one was really like dying like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, people do die, but these kids different. Now they just gun you down.
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna say back then it wasn't really, you really didn't have access. Well, they probably did, but
yo, listen,
it
wasn't as easy. It wasn't as easy
before.
Yeah, it wasn't as easy because there was guns. I remember I told this to my homie, like, yo, back in our day, there was one nigga with the gun, and you shared it. You had to send for the gun, like, yo, send that. These kids walking around with revolvers like Yosemite Sam, bro. I remember I saw a headline. This 14-year-old kid killed this other kid who was like 18 at like 10 o'clock in the morning. What? Like, I'm not banging on nobody before noon, bro. Like, that was just like an unwritten rule. Like, go to sleep, bro. Like,
it was always you caught them like after school, bro.
If 10 o'clock in the morning, and he shot him, bro. That's wild.
Yeah.
And then, you know, everybody got a Ring camera now, so you can hear about it and then you see it on the video.
There's also no code. I feel like back then, although things were the way that they were, as of right now, there's no code that anybody lives by. If I have a problem with you, and I know I have a problem with you, I come in to kill you one time.
Yeah. Yeah. I you could say that, yeah. There was definitely a chain of command in certain criminality back then. Obviously, it could get broken sometimes, but even I feel like older people would say that about us, like, y'all are so wild, like, and now there's these kids are even wilder. You know
Well, that's
what
the
I
thing,
mean?
right? With every generation, you kind of lose some of that, these like unspoken, unwritten rules.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. I just think about it like,
Nah, I
like,
could agree with that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's like you lose some things, you gain some things. But like the funniest thing I could think of, I was fucking watching Shogun, right? The
Mhm.
fucking show with the Japanese samurai, and yo, he pulled up on a dude with his men and the swords, and he was like, "Prepare for battle." And then all of a sudden, yo, he just got fucking rocked by a fucking cannonball.
Damn.
His whole body split open and everything,
Yeah.
and he's on the ground fucking dying. And then he's like, his last words were like, "This is not how samurai fight." And then I thought about it, and I'm like, damn, that's
Yeah.
so crazy that, you know, you have a culture and a society where it was like during times of war, like that was what you did.
The rules
Like,
of
if I
engagement,
wanted
yeah.
to fight you and you wanted to fight me to the death, we had to announce ourselves and be like, "I am Richard, son of this,
But
representing
what's
town
funny
so
about
and
that?
so." You know,
Someone brought that up to me. So like, I can say like in Florida, because they have a fight culture. They'll square up, go outside, fight. They got their guns, so they usually end up shooting each other afterwards. But they'll fight. They'll be like, "Yo, listen, let's take this outside." You feel me? Especially more up north, Jacksonville, because that's where the MMA fighters are and shit, right? I don't come from that. I'm gonna jump you. I don't fight nobody fair. You're not my friend.
Notice the progression. We went from Uptown Classic to I'ma jump you.
But for real, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not my friend. I don't owe you that. So I applaud people that have that honor system. Like, let's do this. It's just a stranger. Let's do this. Let's fight, and then we're gonna call it a day. Nah, I'm gonna jump you.
yeah,
I'm gonna hit you with a bottle.
I find that whole thing of like, yeah, we're gonna fight. It doesn't really exist anymore, bro. It's like, it's kind of just like if you have an enemy, you have an enemy, and then I mean, if things are taken care of and nobody dies, you kind of just don't really fuck with each other.
Yeah.
Or at some point, something later on in life happens where you either dead the beef and it's just like, yeah, whatever, you squash it, and then it's like, you know, you just see the person, it's like whatever. Or it's something where I've had like friends where it's like, yo, same thing, they probably like fucking beat the shit out of somebody and two guys fighting each other, and then something happens that forces them to end up fucking becoming friends. And I would be like, yo, like, didn't you just fucking like pull up on that dude like 2 years ago? He's like, yeah, nah, we
Listen, one of my closest people, because we were friends before we had the conflict. And then, you know, he moved here, his friends were these people, my friends were these people, and it was tense. But he shot at me before, bro, and I tell him happy birthday. You feel me? Because I don't know, we got older, bro, and I always remember like he was my friend before he was my enemy, and he had gotten brain surgery or something like that, and I saw it on social media. I reached out to him, and we spoke, and I went to his crib, and I like to say this about a lot of beef and conflict. A lot of it is just misunderstanding and miscommunication, and sometimes it's just people manipulating other people against each other, especially if they know like you're a hothead or they know that you're gonna be, I don't know, the bullet. You know what I'm saying? That you're gonna be the one that's gonna up it. People will use you like chess pieces, bro. So, you know, like I said with the Trinidad situation, you know what I'm saying? I feel like if a lot of people had the opportunity to talk behind the scenes and get to the bottom of what caused this, where are we presently, and where do we want to go from forward, a lot of things would get solved. Because you can't solve problems in public. No. You just can't. The moment you get on an interview and say something derogatory about somebody or get on your story or anything, once you do that, it's very hard to deal with that. So like even with me, bro, like I've had issues with people. I'ma see you about it. I'm not so even like social media stuff, you know, certain interview stuff, people have left comments under, you know, my stuff and said certain things, and my approach to that is like, bro, I'm not a comment warrior. If you have an issue with me, depending on the level, whether it's personal, criminality, or just entertainment, if it's entertainment, bro, and you got an issue, I'm not going back and forth with you. We can get on a podcast and we could talk about it. That way, it'll betterment us, the culture, and everything about it, because at least we'll have content to push. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then my personal opinion is a lot of people cannot stand on their comments and
because they're hiding behind it online.
Yeah, they can't stand on it. Let's do this on camera. Let's speak about it. Let's present both sides, and that's how we do it. A lot of people can't. They can't talk there because it's based in nothing. They have nothing rooted that bonds them to it to back up their opinion. They just say shit just to say shit.
Yep.
A lot of people are passionate about nothing, bro. And the moment you have to like talk to them about it, it doesn't go anywhere because it's based in nothing. People just passionate about anything.
Could be that. It could also be the cry for attention and the popularity too, right? Because social media now has become so polarizing where everyone has to get their voice in.
Yeah.
Whether it's rooted in logic or not. And I know we spoke about this a little bit before we came on the podcast.
Well, I mean, I've realized that, right? And it makes perfect sense. Like as humans, we're creatures where it's ingrained in our DNA to want certain things, whether it's attention or a social standing or something,
or likes on their comments.
Yeah, like all of that stuff. The whole like experience is based on our psychology of humans to want social gratification.
Okay,
and every time you get a like, it fires off dopamine in your brain like a drug. Boom, boom.
I saw a documentary about that. So that's another thing that I'm unfamiliar with, right?
Yeah.
So I saw this whole documentary about how people get addicted to social media and their perception.
I don't
of
mean to
real
call
life.
you. Was it The Social Dilemma or a different one?
Probably someone on Netflix, right?
Yeah, The Social Dilemma.
And my thing is, I've never experienced this because I'm not a consumer of the internet. I'm a creator of the internet. I create so I'm the problem. Like, because I'm gonna be honest. When I curate my content, I put it out. I design it for you to be hooked into it and be addicted to it. But I did like so. It's funny like seeing the documentary and how social media has destroyed people's lives, and I'm kind of like, just turn off my phone, bro. Like I don't consume, bro. It's just not me. I can't.
Cass has said it best on this show too. And he gave us this advice a while back. Don't drink your Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You are there to make the Kool-Aid, but you're not there to
bro.
consume it.
I'm not an internet consumer. It's just not in me. If I want I don't know, like I feel like people use social media as like a pastime, kind of like, all right, I have spare time.
Yes.
I don't do that. I play video games or something. I'll read, or I'm big on watching interviews. But I just don't social media to pass time. I get bored.
I think that's something that is kind of unique to us as like being like millennials, right? And the people that come after us still haven't figured out that yet. So like for us, and all three of us, right? We all are in the business where we're passionate about something, and we use social media to promote and showcase what that passion is, right? So the stereotypical term for that, content creator, yes, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just one part of it though. Like we create content about what we're passionate about.
And they're passionate about social media.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the reason is that and it makes sense, like I said, when you have a platform that's free, that everybody is on, right? You can go on there and you can say whatever you want, and you're gonna be seen and heard. And I think people on social media who do those things where they argue and they fucking yell and argue and curse and this, like, I think it's less about social media and more so these people, for whatever reason, want to feel seen and heard at whatever cost possible. At least that's my take on it, right?
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
You know what I mean? It's like, because I'm like, well, what if this person had something really fulfilling in their life? Would they be arguing on social media right now? Or would they be like, bro, I don't have time for this. I got this thing.
True.
That I'm so passionate about, whether it's, and even if it's not a thing that they work on, whether it's like their kids, or their family, or whether like you, like, and like us, like how I'll be like, if someone's arguing me, bro, I don't have time for this. I gotta do a video. I gotta read. I gotta do this. But you know what I mean? But some people literally just work and then go home and just fucking sit on their phones.
Nah, I can't do that.
And you can talk to them, right? And you can say, yo, I get your point and I see why it's rooted in this, but here's what I think. You could be perfectly logical, polite like that, right? Or you can respond like that. And here's what they will do. They will read it. It will go into their brain, process, and spit out something. This guy just fucking called me an asshole.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's fucking. It's like, how do we communicate as humans?
Good. I'm good.
But also,
and then I realized
a lot in insecurities and our favorite word, egos.
LOL.
So at the end of the day, you can't fight someone who is insecure and who has a big ego because you can't really talk to them.
So that was teens. Graduated high school. Went to college. Broadcast journalism.
Where'd you go to school?
Mooresville.
Broadcast journalism, you say or no?
Yeah.
What?
And then
I didn't know that about Klassik.
Then after that, I went to IAR. It doesn't exist anymore, but you remember IAR, Institute of Audio Research? I graduated IAR. So like all my music that you've ever heard me create, I've recorded myself, engineered it. The only thing I'll do is send it out for mastering because the producer will want everything on the same level. My highest grades, my best class in IR was music business class. So then after that, when I got locked up, I was 21 when I was sentenced.
Let's talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna say as much or as little as you feel comfortable talking about. Can you give us like the backstory about like, you know, like what happened? What was the process like for you? And just tell us a little bit, I guess, about like the background as much as you want to share.
I feel like just growing up in New York and just being outside, I got involved with certain things just so I could be outside. And the thing about I'm gonna say back then is like that's drastically different from my perspective now is I didn't care about being caught because the more people hear about you, the bigger your reputation and the more dangerous you are. So I would just do outlandish stuff, and it's so crazy now. Like if cell phones, you know what I'm saying? Like, just these kids do things now and they have to live with that shit forever.
The rest of their lives. Yeah.
While things that happen to me and my homies and stuff, it's just a story. You don't even have to believe us, bro, because it's not documented. You know what I'm saying? But I was involved in a criminal lifestyle, basically, even though I was in school and ting. You know, once it's embedded in you, that's it, bro. Especially in my neighborhood, you know what I mean? So I caught my case, it was a gun case, robbery case. I didn't think I was gonna go to a prison, honestly. I'm a lawyer, things were looking good. And then previous criminal activities got brought into the case and they made the case larger than the singular event that I got snatched up for. And my first offer was 15 years. Then 10, then 7 and 5. Took the 5. I did 4 out of 5. Now, actually being in prison, I tried to just stay out of people's way, bro. No disrespect to a lot of people, bro, but I ain't really click a vibe with the people in there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I can't pretend to like you. So I kind of just stayed out of the way. I got my bachelor's while I was in prison. So that's, you know, they have programs that you do to get out earlier. And I did college. So basically you sign up to a college, you pay your tuition and all of that. And this is before internet school was a thing. So they would actually print the course curriculum and I would take the exams and all of that on paper. The bright side about it, which I think they changed the laws on it now. You can't do it like that no more. But I did it at my own pace. So I did my whole bachelor's in like 7 months, bro.
Yeah, because you had all that time.
Yeah, I got nothing else to do. I just did school all day to the point where like other people in the prison knew me as the nigga that was in school. You know what I mean? Then there'd be some people from my neighborhood be like, hey, that's the gang kid. Like, whoa, take it easy, guy. Trying to go home here. You don't know him, he be wildin'. Oh, wow, what? Big books. But yeah, nah, my ain't no too crazy stories in terms of my experience that I could say without a lawyer present. You know? You get me? But and I
But
never.
what? Okay, so here's what I want to know. 'Cause
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this the moment I saw it on all the other interviews.
Yeah.
Like, what did you learn from being in prison?
I learned it's most important to get away with it. Whatever you do in life is between you and God. You don't have to prove nothing to no one. Just do that shit. You don't need no one to co-sign you. You don't need no one to boost your ego. You don't need the reputation. Just do it. You know what I mean? So, and outside of that, I'm still impatient, but I know how to wait. Like, having patience for people is different, but I can wait all day. Like, I practiced waiting for 4 years. So those are the two things I could say that I got from that I still carry with me. Like, if it comes down to doing anything, it's between you and God. Nobody supposed to know. Don't brag about it. Don't tell nobody about it unless it's documented. You know, then there's nothing you could say about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's that.
So now to transition into your music career.
Okay, boom. So I was making music before I got locked. I was battle rapping at like age 14, songwriting age 16. I had a decent like rap hits locally by the time I was like 20. Like my last mixtape that I did rapping before I got locked had features with Red Cafe, Corey Guns, Currency, Ransom, XV, and if I'm forgetting anybody else, bro, it's no disrespect. It's over a decade ago, but I was really into that. So I have, on a professional level, and I say profession, anybody that gets paid is a professional. On a professional level, I've had musical experience since 2010.
2010, yeah.
2014, I came back home, and life, even though it was only 4 years, life was, entertainment wise, was drastically different. I went from, imagine listening to Black and Yellow, and then Young Thug came out, and I was just, I knew that hip hop has changed in a way that I couldn't see myself acclimating to. I ended up catching a scamming case, and even that was, I can say, was side effect of, I came out of prison, I couldn't get no job, bro. You come out of prison, you still got money, you still got issues, I came home to just clothes, really, and I'm thankful for that. My girlfriend at the time, she bought me a MacBook, she helped me open my record label, open my lines of credit, gave me the MacBook, gave me a phone, and gave me clothes. But other than that, like, I need money, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't get no job, or what their jobs will do, they'll give you a very shitty job, even though you're overqualified, because I got degrees, you feel me? But they know, like, well, you're desperate, so we're gonna fuck you over. So my boys was scamming, and I thought, no disrespect to anybody in that scene or whatever, but I thought to myself, like, yo, bro, these niggas ain't too smart. I could definitely do this. And I did it, and I built capital and a network for the time I was involved in that. You know what I'm saying? And it's fucked up to say, like, there was nothing out there to not make me get into that. I just call a spade a spade. For the things I needed to acquire and the things I needed to do, bro, I got 3 degrees and I can't get a fucking job, bro. Nah. So made the money, invested it, you know what I mean, and made shit shake. So that's 2015, 16-ish. I started doing dancehall because I just didn't, I don't know. I stopped going to hip hop parties, American parties, all of that. I was just like, this ain't me. Let me just go back to what makes me happy.
What you grew up in.
Yeah. So dancehall, everything. Jamaicans, everything. And then I started doing dancehall to impress a girl.
So it is after you're done with the other wifey who opened the line of credit for you. And
Yeah,
got the
yeah,
MacBook.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
she gone.
Yeah, she gone.
But she's a real one though.
Yeah, nah,
Talk
big
to
up her, man. Me and her still cool, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so you go and impress. You want to go and impress her next girl now.
Yeah.
So you're doing your dancehall.
So I got into the dancehall. I could get shout out shorty that bought me my stuff. It's Brittany Mirabile. She's an actress. She's in the Purge election year. She's the one in the white dress with the gold AK. You know, I remember we used to, when I was in jail running scripts with her. You know what I'm saying? Like we were very involved in our careers both ways. Breakup was my fault. I fucked it up. But we're still cool, man. And she was very understanding and mature about the situation because she looked at me like, nigga, you just came out of jail. And me catching a second case was also a part of it. She's like, I'm not doing this again. And all right, you know, I'm not going to put you through that again. She's currently going to be on the next Power book thing. She announced it yesterday. So big up, Brittany. Big up you. Now, dancehall. There was a girl that I liked and she would never post my hip hop shit. Just wouldn't post it. And she posted some dude's dancehall shit and I thought it was garbage. And I was just like, I can do this and you're going to post my shit. And I did it and she posted it. And I just kind of was like, all right, let me keep at it. And one thing I can say about me in contrast to a lot of other people around me, because I'm interested in the business, I looked at the analytics. So even though I was making dancehall music, my highest consumers weren't Jamaicans. My highest consumers were Guyanese, Trini, Bajans. So it's like, all right, let me make this make sense for me. So a DJ in Florida was also a family friend, Cool Blaze, hit me up. He was just like, yo, he hit me up and was just like, yo, I got a rhythm for you. And at the time I was like, yo, man, I know no soca, boy, man, I don't want to know soca. He gave it to a different artist and the song did good. I was like, fuck.
What song was that?
GBM New Wave.
Yeah, so you passed up that.
I mean, in my defense, it was uncharted territory that I wasn't familiar or comfortable with.
So wait, as a uptown Jamaican, so you're telling me and you're telling everyone on the podcast, as a uptown Jamaican, how you grew up, you weren't exposed to soca before?
Absolutely. I grew up in a soca house, but crafting something that I'm not familiar with, anything that I write, bro, I study. I just don't pick up and do it. And I'm going to get to that in terms of when I built too much, but I just don't just do shit because that's how you come across pretentious and, you know, you got to take shit seriously, bro. You got to know the roots and the traditions. Like I need to know where it was born, bro. I need to know everything about it. I need to immerse myself in it. Songwriting is just not just 3 minutes of melodies, bro. Songwriting is the culmination of culture and history. Even if it's bullshit, even if it's mumble rap or something else, it came from something.
Right.
And I feel like it's very important to know where that comes from to create authentically to the right audience. So, Cool Blaze hit me up after that and was just like, yo, I got another rhythm. I said, I'll take it. I think I had like a 72-hour deadline. I did it with like 8 hours left. And it was decent. People were receptive to it. And I thought to myself, shit, if I had time and more dedication, this might take me somewhere. And I made a promise to myself, like, yo, I'm going to do this for a year and see where it goes. And I had boom on a Fuego rhythm by like month 6.
Yeah, and for those who are not familiar with the figure rhythm, that's Moto's Man Would Ride from
Yeah.
St. Lucia. That whole Denry segment.
Mm-hmm. And that was
I remember
2019.
that. That's how I was actually introduced to you.
Yes.
Was the figure rhythm.
Yes. But and even with that, like, I'm very practical, bro. Everything is I do myself, and I take shots and I take chances, because the more shots you take, the higher odds that you're gonna actually score. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to take it. So I just maximize my chances. So my soca career started simply as me being like, all right, after the Cool Blaze record, I went on Julian's. So this is 2019. And I put the songs in order of most popular. And then I took the email or social media contact of every producer that made music for the 3 years. So from 2019 to 2017 or some shit, 2016. And the email list and the social media list came up to over like 100 and change people. And I contacted every single one of them, and 3 of them hit me back. It was Silent for Red, I believe Nice Nation, and I can't remember the third, but I just
So Lucian and a Trinity. Basically. For those who are not familiar with Silent for Red or Nice Nation. Nice Nation is a Zest/Soca/dancehall producer based out of Trinidad and Tobago.
yeah, and so I did the record for Sal, and I come from a hip hop background, and I'm also a millennial, so I come from I feel like people older than me, so what's that, Gen X? They're very go outside and street team type of mentality, and I feel like younger people, that's what, Gen Z.
Yeah,
The one right after
millennials
us?
is Gen Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Gen Zs, they're more like everything internet, while I'm in the middle. I'm gonna do both. So a lot of people be like, "Yo, you always outside." I'm like, out of sight, out of mind, bro.
Sure.
I come from that, bro. Especially in hip hop and dancehall, you gotta be outside. You gotta, interact with the DJs. You gotta interact with the promoters. You gotta interact with the fans. Like, bro, some people come off stage and don't take pictures. I don't turn down pictures, bro.
Neither me.
You know what I'm saying? So
I got a funny story. There was one time Gel gave me a DJ Gel bandana,
yeah.
and I was walking around the party wearing it, and like five girls came up to me. They're like, "Are you DJ Gel?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they're like,
You're a dirtbag.
Oh,
they're
you're
like,
rich with that shit.
they're like, "Yo, can we take a picture with you?" I'm like, "Of course." And you see me in the picture, like,
Dirtbag.
and I'll go, and then afterwards I'll be like, "Yo, I'm not Gel." They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Nah, he's right over there."
Dirtbag. That's a good one, though.
But yeah, to your point, I think there's two really big things there. One, the first thing, the more basic thing is like, it's really important, and Jal and I talk about this all the time, it's really important to be on the grounds. And I feel like from the time I first met
feel like
you,
soca people don't do that, bro.
Nah.
bro, yeah, like and think about it, for like a genre of music that's supposed to be rooted, or is rooted in rebellion and emancipation and blending of cultures, right? To have something like that is the foundation of the genre, and then to be someone who like feels like, yo, I'm too good for this, or I don't
know
wanna
if it's
do
a
this.
too good thing. I just think that it's maybe just culturally just not what is done, and just do
I
it.
don't think so.
I don't-
Because
yeah.
there's Iowa George, who's
Yeah.
always on the ground in
Yeah,
Trinidad
and you can look at it too.
Fireman in St. Vincent.
Yeah,
There's examples of it. I think what happens is what we agree on, which is the ego thing. We all
think
that
yeah.
we're
I think
better
some
than
people,
so and so
yeah,
when we're not.
Let me make it make sense for me, right?
Alright.
yeah,
If I'm outside and you see me,
Mhm.
even if you don't big me up, you saw me, and then you're like, all right, I might fit the classic thing in a set, even if it's for 60 seconds. You gonna play it for 60 seconds. I record it. I repost it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Real-time example happened last weekend, actually.
So, I have a platform, you have a platform.
Mhm.
No one else is gonna root or work for me like me.
Mhm.
So, and no disrespect to anybody else, even if someone else did that and recorded it and tagged it, whatever, they don't have as big a platform as me. It won't have as much of impact as if I did it myself. So I go outside, bro, and then man like you on a ladder of this soca thing. DJs, people don't understand, like, you play my song, right?
Mm-hmm.
A DJ that had doubts in a song will be like, yo, Jel played it. I'm gonna give it a shot. And even if you did play it, if I didn't record it, no one would have knew.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell a lot of people, like, yo, bro, sometimes it's not even the performance or the DJ playing the stuff. It's the footage. If you don't record it, it didn't happen.
Yeah. And that was going to be the next thing I was going to say. So it's like, it's one thing is the most important thing is you being on the ground, interacting with people, which again, not super important, not just because of the marketing aspect, but it's also the second thing is like our generation, like being a millennial is really unique.
Yeah.
Because
we know both sides.
Yes, we're the generation.
Saw the transformation of everything.
No, we saw the transformation, but also like we are literally the embodiment of tradition and technology.
Okay.
Right? The generation before us is
more traditional.
Could be 100% tradition and not 100% into social. Some of them try to get into it, and some of them do really well. The generation after us is
completely
all
digital.
tech,
Yes,
but little tradition, and they're starving for tradition.
Okay.
Right? And sometimes they go about it the wrong way. Like I was talking to Teja about this just over the weekend, where he was asking, like, how do people in America, like Caribbean people in the diaspora, like how do you guys, especially if you're third, because we're no longer, it's no longer just first generation, like we're first generation Caribbean.
Okay.
But we're at a point in our time now where it's like there's third and fourth.
Yes.
There's people there.
There's people with 5 flags in their bio.
From since in the 60s and even before that.
Yeah. And even after us, like I know people who have kids and their kids now have kids.
Yes.
And they're Guyanese, Trinidadian, whatever it is, right? So Teja was like, yo, how do people here experience that? And I was telling him, I'm like, Teja, like, it's a great question, because one of the things we talk about a lot is like when you go to the Caribbean, that culture just exists.
Okay.
Right? And that's not to say that people don't try to be like American in the islands.
Okay.
But there is still, you are living in that culture.
Yes.
Whereas like in America, you have to choose.
Yes.
Am I going to be American?
Yes.
And go into whatever that may be, whether it's hip hop culture or American culture or white culture, whatever that is, or am I gonna go down the rabbit hole of like being Caribbean and to what degree?
Yeah.
Like for me, like I had to choose that. Like I went to school like literally with all white people, and then it wasn't until I became like 14, 15 where I had my first Caribbean friends, where I was like, oh, I can listen to music and not really be judged for it. So then I was like, all right. So then they were all listening to like soca, and back then like rupee was like the biggest thing back then in the 2000s and stuff, right? So then I got into that.
It's speaking of soca and rupee and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Growing up, I didn't know soca to be soca. I just knew it to be music.
Music, correct. So
when people were just like, "Oh, you listen to soca," I'm like, "I just like this. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
So I experienced that.
For me, I had to hide it. So because the first soca song I ever heard was It's Carnival. And I told this story on the last podcast that I recorded to Ricky.
That's the first soca song you ever heard?
Believe it or not.
The first soca song
2003 though.
2003.
I think the first soca song I ever heard was either Tiny Whiny or Swinging Swinging Engine.
I will say not the okay, I should clarify.
Yeah,
it wasn't the first soca song I ever
and my mom would take me to Carnival.
Yeah.
So I have pictures of me like 8 years old.
It wasn't the first soca song I ever I heard. I would say it was the first soca song I ever consciously decided to embrace.
Okay, yes.
Because before that, when I was like a kid, like the first, like my furthest memory of like really loving a song, like the first artist I ever really loved was probably Chris Garcia. Kid you not, because all the fucking guys been went crazy to his shit when it came out, bro. And then obviously we had other things. We had Tiny Whiny and we had Hot and Groovy and stuff, right? But by the time like I would say I was able to kind of be like a pre-teenager, like 10, 11, 12, in that era of like you're really self-conscious about like what other people think about you and how you're being perceived by other people your age. The first song I decided to consciously embrace it was It's Carnival, and I think it was Roll It Gal. And I remember and I remember being in school and like going to like some of my like white friends and being like, guys, like And they would be like, no, this is fucking stupid. And I was like, damn, I can't fucking listen to this around them, right?
Which is hilarious because Roll It Girl was a big tune here in the US
I
and
know.
in Europe.
Yeah. But
Allison sold millions of
so,
records.
but here's the thing, right? I would go, like, I was in school in the weekends, in the weekdays at Howard Beach with like all the Italian people. Then on the weekends, I would go see like my cousins, and they would be fucking like my older cousins who are now like much older. But at the time, they were like, you know, they were teenagers or like young adults. So they'd be fucking like drinking, rolling up and stuff, and they'd be fucking blasting that shit, bro. Like, and I'm like, wow, like this is dope. But even then, I couldn't really embrace that music with them because I was too white to like hang out with them. So it was like this weird place where I didn't really like fit in with them, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I had to like choose at a certain point in my life, like how Caribbean I was gonna be. And now like I see it like with my nephews, and I see it with like people like cousins who are having their kids. So now we're getting into like second generation or third generation being Caribbean, being born in America. And I could have like one nephew who is like now getting into soca and is like, yo, I want to go to the Marshall shows, I want to go to the Kes shows. When I turn 18, I want to go to Carnival. And then I have like my other nieces and nephews who are like fully Caribbean. They're like, I don't really fuck with this. Like they'd rather go to like a Taylor Swift concert or something. You know what I mean? So like to a degree now, it's like you have to choose. That's why I think like being a millennial is so important, because we didn't really have a choice. Like we didn't really choose it. It was just something we grew up with. Whereas like if you're Caribbean in America now, I mean, you know, you can kind of make that choice of like, I'm gonna go down the path of like soca, reggae, dancehall, or just one of them or all of them. Right? Some people do it in other ways where it's like they'll embrace religion of the Caribbean, but they won't embrace the music. Okay. So it's like, if I'm Muslim, I'm going to go to a mosque that has a lot of Caribbean people, but I'm not really necessarily going to fuck with the music. Or I'm going to go to a mandir, Hindu mandir, but I'm not really going to fuck with that. But I will fuck with like maybe chutney music.
Yeah.
And only that.
Yeah. And maybe Bollywood.
And maybe Bollywood. And then you know what I mean? So that's why I say like the experience of being Caribbean now for like a lot of us is like this, there's no one lived experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think for you, like when people say to you like, yo, why are you outside? Why are you this? Why are you that? People don't understand. It's like, it's not just because it's a good strategy for you as an artist, but it's also like we're a living embodiment of like the last generation to kind of do shit like that, bro.
And then too, it's like I have the benefit because people ask me like, "Yo, bro, how long you was doing soca?" And I was just like, 2019. I can't even say like 2019. Yeah, but like the middle of the year though, so it wasn't even like the full 2019, right? And I was like, bro, I became successful quickly because I was able to bring an outside perspective.
Which is what soca is missing a lot of.
Soca is tied into the music business and genre of soca music is tied into traditionalism to the point where soca music is more of a subsidiary of the carnival business than a genre. And I end up breaking the rules because I don't bound myself to these invisible walls. I do what makes sense. I look through the data, I check the analytics, I make marketing plans, 30, 60, 90-day plans, and I execute accordingly. You feel me? While certain people are just bound to the tradition. They're going to put it out this time of year, give it to X DJs, put it on X radio, try to do road march, so on and so forth. And
that's if there's a strategy, because I could argue there's not.
I mean, I feel like they just go by the tradition because in their mind it's just how things are done. While even the fact that I live here, I couldn't do things their way if I wanted to. You feel me? So it's like I got to figure out how to make this work from Florida, make this work from New York, or make it work from anywhere. So yeah, like that being a subsidiary of the carnival business puts a strain on the genre of soca. And then I can say, just by skimming through comments on what y'all podcast, the average consumer isn't open to learn and understand because they just like it how it is without understanding that it could be larger and it could be better and it could be streamlined better. I can say the fans, y'all get the full enjoyment of everything, bro. Our blood, sweat, and tears. You don't know what it takes for that song to even reach you. You don't know the hurdles. You don't know what it takes just for a man like Rich Angel to get on a podcast and say what they can say. Because they will be persecuted for what they say. And what makes it worse is so the fans, y'all just get all the good parts and none of the bad. And that's why I feel like, please, anybody that has said anything disrespectful or uncouth in regards to these men and their platform, please. I'm sure because even when I watch it, their intention isn't to disrespect or bash someone. The intention is the same way you get to enjoy our labor, we can enjoy making it for you. You know what I'm saying? It's unreasonably difficult to curate music and to spread the records and to break the records on a global scale. Soca is not confined to an individual island, and at least not in 2024. Everybody has their own flavor and everything, and it is incredibly difficult, but it's a gift that we can make a record and it gets played in Trinidad, Jamaica, Russia, Germany, Ibiza, UK, but it is difficult because of these invisible walls that are created to protect people that should be dead. They're old. There are certain people that, and it's not necessarily old in age, they're old in mindset, and to protect them and keep them in position hurts everybody else. And that's why,
That's a bar.
That's why I end up stepping on people's toes, because no disrespect, I'm going to call a spade. I could fight, bro. So if you got an issue with me, we going to see about it. Either we going to talk amicably about it, we can get on a podcast and talk about it, or I'll just punch you in your shit. And I feel like a lot of people ain't willing to do that. Like, bro, wars are not only won through diplomacy. That's cute. We can strategize and talk things out and make peace treaties, but someone got to bleed, bro. And I can only speak for myself. My background documented is in criminality. So if I'm not doing this, I might have to be kicking in your door. You don't want me kicking in your door. So I'm going to protect my music. This is my livelihood. And this is other people's livelihood too. Y'all have to be thinking it's a game.
Yeah. And it's an honest way of living too.
So people will do whatever it takes to protect this and to make it grow and to make money off of this. I can honestly say a lot of people in this industry don't want to pay you in cash. They don't want to pay you in capital. They want to pay you in opportunity.
And exposure.
Opportunity, exposure, and man, I got a mortgage. Mm-hmm. What the fuck are you talking about? You feel me? So even something small as like, yo, bro, you know how much people I looked up to in this industry that don't own shit? Them have 0% of them fucking song. Mm-hmm. You know how much people I know, just from an analytical point of view, right? If you get X amount of streams times 20 and you have hits year after year, but you still have a job, you shouldn't.
And for those locked in, just to conceptualize it, when you're saying that people don't own their songs, they mean that they don't own the masters, meaning they can't really make money off the music that they created.
Them just make the beat.
A lot of the record labels or the producers might have ownership where the artist doesn't.
Yeah, nah, I don't operate on those type of guidelines. If I don't got a percentage on a record, I'm not doing a record.
So one question I want to ask you, right? Do you feel that is it more advantageous? And the reason I ask this is because, like, I mean, we kind of call them like triple threats, and we can kind of see like the advantages they
Like
have.
Just the Anastasia and a
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it more advantageous from a monetary perspective for an artist to not only have like singing and lyrical skills? Is it also super important for them to also like do producing and writing in a sense too? So if you did all three things, artistry, producing, and writing, does that give you complete ownership of the
No, because you know why? Someone will identify that talent in you and just take you and have you writing for them, producing for them, and you get shit. And we've seen that. We are an industry where people will fuck you over and smile about it. So, in theory, you could have that skill set, like, write, produce, ting, ting, ting. But if you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And if you don't say like, yo, Erwa, I me build this and me do that, like, let me get X amount of this, then you're not gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's in your skill set. Producing is not in my skill set. Engineering is, and I write my own stuff, and my vocal range is pretty decent, so I can make shit work. But also, I'm not bound to tradition. So like, certain things that people do, which makes no fucking sense to me, is they'll just make one song and just push it for the whole year. That's cute in 2003 or some shit. It's in 2024, and then people say like, well, what if you oversaturate the market? You can't oversaturate the internet. It's infinite.
Especially with the competition.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like certain people don't get through because they're so bound to being the subsidiary of the Carnival industry and not treating soca like an industry of itself. People are not treating soca like a music business.
So let's talk about that, because one of the things that you've been able to achieve over the 3 years as a artist in soca and in dancehall and in zest and everything that you've been doing is streaming, right?
Yes.
And your streams,
because it's important to me. Yes.
And your streams have gone through the roof. So walk us through how you came up with that strategy and like what you would recommend for other artists who are struggling to do that.
I base my model off of what I learned in school. And I do have record label experience on both ends as being an artist and working in it. And I could just say like, I don't give a fuck per se about being popular if I can't monetize off of being popular. So I feel like a lot of things in this soca thing that we have, people think because they are popular that everything is happily ever after. And that's not how it works. So there's certain things that, like, I'm not good at YouTube. If you look at my YouTube numbers, I'm not good at it. But that's because I never prioritized it. Because you can't go to a label and be like, check out my YouTube, because they don't give a fuck about it.
Right.
Labels have equity in Spotify. Like, there are labels that partly own Spotify. So when you walk into a label and they ask you, yo, when you get your meeting or whatever, they're going to ask you for your Spotify numbers. They're not going to ask you for nothing else. So that's why my streams are the way they are. My end goal is the label deal. And for me to get the label deal, I need the streams. I know YouTube shit. You know what I'm saying? This is what I need. This is what I'm going to get. I need it on this scale. Now, in terms of how do I build a strategy, I do everything in intervals. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. So I build a strategy, do it for 30 days. If it exceeds a certain amount of streams or fills the quota that I need, I extend it to phase 2. And then so on and so forth. And then, if and when something gets to probably like a 6-month campaign, it's usually in the mix. It's usually moving. Some songs don't make it past 30 days, and that's just a reality. And some people get too attached to the song. Just because you love it doesn't mean other people are gonna love it ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look at Allison. A hit 12 years later.
But it was a hit when it came. It just came back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So and that's something that people, bro, if you put out a song, bro, and it doesn't get a certain amount of streams in like 50 days, bro, that's just proof that people aren't vibing with it. No matter how much you love it, how passionate you are, it's not gonna move. And then what people do, obviously you can pay for marketing campaigns and so on and so forth. It will move up until the campaign stops.
Yeah.
So the thing about me, I know my fans are a consumer, and I'm of service. I service my fans. You know what I'm saying? It is an expression, but my fans are very important. Like, I know who I'm writing to before I even open my phone. So that's why it's important to know the culture and know the tradition and know things authentically and visit the places.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how you connect with the people. It's in theory, you could just, I don't know, read something and then kind of cook something up, but it'll never hit the same until you go to the place.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Or at least have someone in your friend circle that can educate you on these things, because they live it, and then you see it in the way they walk, they talk, they breathe. You feel me? Even if they have, we in the US, so even if they code switch to their American form or their Trini form, you understand.
Mhm.
That's Belmont in you right there. That's Laventille. That's town. That's authentically you. You couldn't take that out of your DNA if you wanted. That's just your design. You know what I'm saying? So, my streams are up because I dedicate myself to that. And a lot of people, they don't dedicate themselves to the streams because it's not important to them. They dedicate themselves to maybe they want to perform at the big stage or whatever, or maybe they want to win Road March. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has different goals. My goal is them streams, so I'm gonna get them streams. And creating records costs money. Breaking records costs money.
Give us a ballpark figure of how much it costs, because our audience is not really truly aware of how much it costs to make a record.
So there's two things, right? Like, one, I just want to start with like you focusing on string. I think is like really, really important. And I think you said something really important, which was like, you could put something out there and the attachment to music, right? You can put something out there, a song you're really attached to, and you may love it and you may think it's like the dopest thing ever. But if it's only going to move.
If the numbers don't reflect it, I move on. So
that's really important, because I feel like with a lot of art, whether it's video work or, illustration, anything really. One of the things that I was watching like a documentary called The Romantics, and it was talking about like how Bollywood reacts to certain actors.
Okay.
And they were talking about nepotism, and they were like, people want to say that there's a lot of nepotism in Bollywood, and to a degree perhaps, but look at this. This one is a son of this really, really famous person, and this person's acting career is not really, doesn't really reflect like what you have, like one of the greats, like a Shah Rukh Khan or something.
Okay.
And they were like, why is that?
Okay.
And it was, I think it was Karan Johar. He's like, Karan Johar's son. He's like pretty much the second like biggest producer, part of Yash Raj and stuff. They're the biggest producers for movies in India. They were saying the biggest contributing factor, believe it or not, that determines an actor's success, and an actor, in my perception, is also an artist. It's actually not the money that you put behind it. The marketing plays a huge role. But the person or the thing that determines the success of an actor in this field is actually, it's the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And if the audience loves you,
so I'm gonna get to that, right?
Yeah, like, and that's what I wanted you to touch on too, right?
Okay, boom.
Is how important is audience receptance to music and to an artist, and then totally after I want to get into the cost.
I only want to speak for myself, and then bring up the cost, because I'm gonna
forget.
Yeah,
no, we're gonna go there.
There is this thing, and it's even when I was hip hop, there's this thing that I learned real early, right? When you're in a music industry, I think the instinct is to impress the executive. because they're the one that's gonna pay your bills, right?
Right.
They're the one that gives you the shot, kind of. There was an era in hip hop, and I observed it, and I've learned my lesson from it, because it's very important to learn from other people's shortcomings. Remember like blog rap? There was like a blog rap era where every hip hop thing had a website.
Yes.
And every website had the one artist they were pushing. They all flopped because they were the executives' favorites. So I try not to get into that. I don't need validation from industry people. I need validations from fans, because the industry people could love you. You can get invited to all the galas and all of that shit, but then niggas don't fuck with you. But if you have fans, industry people have to fuck with you even if they don't like you. It doesn't work the other way around.
Spend the money.
Exactly. So that's what I have to say in terms of how important that is. I don't care about. No industry person is gonna have the final say on how I curate and push and market my shit. Cause it's only one of y'all, but I gotta fucking sell to how much the world population? 4 billion people. I gotta figure out how to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Double it, 8.
Shit.
Soon to reach 10.
Shit.
Yeah, 'cause
India going crazy right now. India going crazy right now.
There's actually really funny, right? There's actually I don't know, it could be real. This was a while ago. They drew a circle around India, China, and like a little bit of Indonesia. Let's say this is the whole map of the world. They drew a little circle like this right here. And they're like, there are more people inside this circle than outside of it. And I was like, yo!
Shit. And then, cost. So I'm gonna do this, the ceiling and then the basement. And the best records are gonna be at the ceiling. And then the bottom, sometimes people get through with the bottom. Some people get through with the middle. But all the big hits is the ceiling. The rhythm, the instrumental, just to get the beat. In the genre of soca, the ceiling I've seen for a beat is about $4,000. I'm sure it could have been higher, but that's the ceiling I've seen. So we're already starting off $4,000 right there. Then you have to get in the studio and record. Let's say you don't have your own setup and you pay. We could run maybe a stack for that, right? Now we have $5,000. Now, we're gonna have to. The song is recorded at this point. Let's say you don't know how to write music.
You gotta get a writer.
You gotta get a writer. So the writer gonna get a percentage. If sometimes, not all the time. A percentage of the record. Producer's gonna get a percentage of the record, and the writer might want another upfront fee. So that's another stack. So what are we at? Like 7? So, all right. Now the song is made. Music video.
Wait, did we mix and master this song? We not
Mix and master. The ceiling on a mix and master, the highest. We could say another stack.
Yeah, so we had 8.
Yeah, but the basement on a mix and master has been like 100 before.
All right.
But those are songs that are not necessarily diverse percussion. We're talking about like big road march song with
let me go by precision. Let's go by Casey or Scratch Master.
man like them. We have live ting and ting.
Yeah.
Nah, you talking
They will
about
charge more.
you talking a stack. And then let's say you hired a horn man or a pan man or something. Them man have to pay
Live instrumentation.
Live instrumentation. Probably run you another $500 or so. So we have 7.5 right now, right?
8.5.
8.5. Music video. Let's say you don't have the hookup and you want to do what you do. Let's say 2,000 for it. So we're at 10, right?
10. 5.
But that's just for the cameraman. You have to book all the extras, book the venue. You know what I'm saying? So like too much music video costed me, I think like $5,000. Because I paid all the girls. Because I don't believe in not paying anybody. Because if you don't pay someone, they're going to do what they want. You pay someone that you gotta do what you're employed to do. So I paid the girls. I had to rent out the place that we recorded at, we videoed at. I had to pay the video man. I had to pay for Marsville plane ticket at hotel from Barbados. Anybody know that's big money.
So wait, so although he's on your record with you, or they didn't split that cost?
Nah, because he was good. I needed it. It's called a spade. When a song lift up, like, all right, a song was recorded, 2021, like, I think I released it on my birthday. Or some, let's say 2021, right? He was good. His name was on, it says Marsville featuring Klassik. Nobody was cross-checking for me. He was good. He didn't need a video. I needed a video. I needed my face attached to what was going on. I needed the break. I needed this to bust. He didn't need it. Marsville, in his own right, is a legend. So I had to make this happen. I told him, like, yo, I want to do this. He's like, well, if that's what you want to do, pay for it. And I did. You know what I'm saying? So let's say it costed the same much. Your music video cost as much as my music video. Let's say $5,000. So we have 15.5 right now, bro. Yes. So all right. So after 15.5, we're gonna have to market this video, because songs just don't magically work out. Even though the part of this, the marketing and promotion, is to make it seem as organically as possible, it's not. There's a lot that goes behind the scenes, and there's definitely different routes you got to take, and you won't know which one works until it works. So let's say Soca. You have to pay for put it on Julian's. I haven't put my stuff on Julian's in like 2 years or whatever. If my songs end up on Julian's, it's because the producer makes that executive decision. I choose not to. But that could, I think the price for Julian's right now is probably like $150 or some shit. And that's because he puts it on his platform and he sends the email out. Then you might have to get in contact with an email list of some sort, or get in contact with some DJs. So what people neglect to include in their budget is the promotions, right?
Yeah.
Man will set like boom. Like, let's say I know you are having your boat ride. And I go, you know what, let me walk up into Gel and link him and see if I'm playing my thing, and I record it. Even if Gel gave me a comp, it's still not free. I had to pay my gas to go there. I had to make my outfit. I had to pay toll. You know what I'm saying? People forget that is part of the expense. Yeah. And if you were on a label, that's gonna come down on the expenses too. So just because I'm outside and running around, between just gas and buying drinks and then just loss of sleep deprivation, that shit adds the fuck up, bro. So I don't know. I say a successful marketing budget, marketing promotions budget, to break a record, to maximize, probably like $10,000. It depends on how large you want it to be.
But that's the minimum. That's the floor.
If you had to say, I'd rather you start at 10, and if we get it to bust before 10, then that's better. But I'd like to start at 10.
So you did here 10,000 USD, not TT, not Jamaican, 10,000 US.
But there have been times where a song will bust way before you reach the 10, and then there's sometimes a song don't bust until like 30 grand, bro. And you know, fortunately, because of the industry we're in, it is significantly cheaper than other genres. Because if we're talking hip hop, bro, this could get fucking crazy, bro. This could get crazy. So, you know, playlist placements, all types of shit. It's a treacherous thing, but you can't do it for free. Any hit song you've ever heard,
even to put it up on streaming platforms, TuneCore, CD Baby, DistroKid, they're all charging you
Yeah.
A monthly subscription.
Oh yeah. So boom. So all right. Boom. So let's say now we're talking about the splits, right?
Yes.
Let's say you ain't write it, you ain't produce it. Sometimes an artist will get 0. So that means every time the song stream, every time it's on YouTube, every time it's on the radio, you get nothing. There are more people that are experiencing this than you think.
Mm-hmm.
While sometimes a producer might want 50-50. Sometimes they'll split it across the board with everyone splits even. So it could be a 25, everybody. But yeah, traditionally speaking, bro, I'm going to be honest, even in dancehall, it used to be the artist got nothing.
The producer got everything.
And then producer got everything.
But
and
is
the
that with
artist,
singles or rhythms?
it's both traditionally in dancehall, and then things changed over time because you know dancehall there was no digital era, so you were expected to go and do shows and make your money. Now, you know, by the grace of God, my dad told me one time, bro, you can make a song and make $1 million off the song, or you can make 1 million songs and make $1. Still $1 million. So, fortunately, for me, I put out an average like 12 songs a year. I think last year I put out 20-something songs. But that's just part of what's going on. Like, I'm not necessarily as pressed to jump through hoops and do certain things because I still get my residual income. I still get my royalty checks. You know what I'm saying? While some people might not have that and they have to always be putting out certain stuff and have to go to every show and have to, you know, it's the worst part of your career is when you're in a point where you can't even say no because you need the money. And that just comes down to ownership. Because even before I was touring, I was still making money off of sync and licensing, like getting my songs in like movies and TV shows and shit like that. And the catch with that is you don't get paid. Well, my placements, I didn't get paid until the movie came out. So sometimes you might be waiting a year or two for a check. So, and that goes with everything I do. I just do as much as I can so I can get the checks, you know. But you don't want to be put in a space where you can't say no to something because you don't have, because you're broke. That's the worst. And you always, as your career grows, the expenses grow.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. It's like, well, you might feel like, well, this song I put out last year only cost me like $2,000. Like, yeah, but you got to make a bigger song now. Get it to more people. Get more streams. It's going to cost more money. It never goes down. It never gets cheaper. And that's what makes it complicated. And it's important to recoup on the record. Like, I can confidently say my expenses when it came to too much because I recouped it. But there's certain songs that I haven't recouped on, but I'm not too stressed out because too much is paid for my whole back catalog. You feel me? And that's what people need to strive for. You need to own shit so you can recoup on your expenses. The worst thing is when you don't own shit, but you paying for the marketing, you paying for the promotions, you running here for what?
Yeah, and that's not really fair because I could argue that producers and writers are taking advantage of the artists because if they don't own anything and they're putting out the budget for the song, it don't make sense.
You don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And sometimes you gotta say no, bro. You know how much people that tell no, bro?
As you should.
There's certain people that we're gonna distribute with this person. How much percent they want on the record? This much. Eat dick. For what? You don't. I be telling certain people like, yo, bro, you don't have a auntie that live in America or some shit. You can just sign up to TuneCore 1 RPM.
Yeah, that's easy. You can do it yourself.
You know what I'm saying? But they want to go through these third party persons that take a cut of a cut of a cut. By the time you get your money, the fuck is that?
Yep.
Like, bro, it's crazy.
A part of it too is laziness on education. Though. They just don't know.
Yeah. I could say that, but you know, I feel like, bro, you know how much artists, bro, use my lawyers because someone fucked them.
Mhm.
People call me like, yo, Klassik, yo, can I audit this? I'm like, yeah. What happened? You know what I'm saying? How much I had to clean up certain nigga shit, bro. And come on, bro. There's a lot of people, man, that they align themselves with people that are successful, but they are going to be successful at the expense of you. And then when you're done with you, they're going to find someone else. And I try to be autonomous from that shit, bro. You see my shit black as the code. You see me, it's my shit. When that shit come out on Apple Music, it says Black Sales Music Group. Or it says Klassic Frescobar. It says it's written by me. You feel me? I ain't play with somebody else, bro.
Ownership is important.
Yeah, I own all that shit.
But before you start, Rich, you mentioned too much and you're successful too much.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that consistently comes up in the industry, which we could argue with the dinosaurs,
Okay.
is the lyrical content of obscene and explicit music. You've been known for making that type of music, right?
Okay.
Which is very popular and it gets
Yes.
you the streams. That's how you're eating. You're making an honest living that way.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to the people in the industry who's kind of criticized you for it?
Don't click it. You're a big man. You know what I'm saying? I don't go to your fucking job and tell you how to slice potatoes, nigga. Don't come in my studio and tell me what to write, nigga. I'm gonna be honest. I don't take opinions that people don't pay for. Because people will give you opinions and you will go broke. I'm more inclined to listen to someone if they say, yo, Airwa Klassik, this is what I think. I'll pay for this. I'll pay for the writer. I'll do this. And then we could work like that because you believe in what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
People just be saying shit. And in terms of the content, there's a time and place, and life is about polarity. And I have a theory, and that's how I construct my songs. If everybody like your song, it's a flop. If everybody hates your song, you might have a hit. And if people can argue about your song, you have a hit. So you need someone that's gonna love it, and you need someone that's gonna hate it. The worst thing is, because when I send out my music, I send it to everybody. I send it because I need different perspectives so I can prepare myself. So I send it to a DJ. I send it to my mom. I send it to my dad. I send it to a dancer. I send it to a civilian. I send it to an American. If everybody like the song, it's gonna flop. People need something to argue about. Every song that you've ever, that's like a big, big, big hit is something that people could argue about. And it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be like a sexuality controversy. It could be anything to argue about, whether it's tone, religion, authenticity. People need something to argue about. And when I constructed too much, it took, I spent, but just crafting the song, I must have spent like 6-7 months before I even got in the booth. Because I had to understand what the fuck is this music. For real. Because people was trying to pitch it to me for a while. Like, yo, this is what you need to do. I'm like, bro, I need to know what it is. I need to know.
And you did it in a time in the pandemic when the borders were closed.
Yeah.
You couldn't even visit Trinidad
So
to really understand it.
I had to do research. I had to quick calls, YouTube videos. I had to just make it make sense. And I realized the principality of what the most successful songs had in common was shock value. And, I come from a rapping background, so I could stretch the shock value. And the rhythm of it was already out by the time I wrote it. So it's like I had to out shock value all these niggas. So it was my and because I'm a service. Music is a service. I had to service the fans. This is what they wanted. That was the only way the song could be successful, is if I could satisfy their need for that shock value. And we could call a spade a spade. When you go to Dominica, they're mad chill, nice, you know what I'm saying? Couth people. But they want to put the hand in the pussy and put it in their mouth. And that's the thing, like, yo, bro, people that are stifled, statistically speaking, are the people that are going to consume this. So it just shows that they need that liberty, bro. Because we all know them people, certain people that be in them comments talking all that crazy, freaky shit is because they're church people that are just stifled, bro. They can't be themselves. They can't live in their truth. And one thing I can say about Zest music, especially after being in Trinidad and seeing how strict a lot of things are, Zest music is like lyrical liberation of sexuality. There needed to be a place for it to exist. People were being excluded from that. People were dying for it. So I provided that, and you got to vibe responsibly. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is for who it's for. This is for adult consumption. Now, if it gets in the hands of somebody else, you're just bad parents. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this was something that was needed, bro, because people just stifle, bro. They can't live in their truth. They can't say what they want to say or be themselves or even express their sexuality in a certain way because they are judged. Right. And the bottom line is like, yo, bro, the hooks them a love fuck too much, bro. Them want fuck. You know, I don't think people. I think people forget, like, you know, church kids come from sex. Yep. So fucking I go on.
I mean, even if we look at some of the older songs that had suggestive content, there's sexuality has always existed in the music.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Boom. So them can say, yo, too much was explicit, and I'm gonna say was because now it's not that much of a big deal. But I could say when Turn It Around and Put It Back In came out, I'm sure it was a big fucking deal. Yeah. And then people got used to it. So now people got to up it. And then it's always going to go up. It never goes down. Yeah. It goes up. So it's the same thing. Like, yo, the same way when you heard those lyrics back in those days, you went, it's the same shit now. Yeah. And
now we pushing, we hand any pussy and putting it in me.
Yeah.
To jump on that, right? I think because I know, like, when we spoke about this and we were talking about nasty business in the last one, right? So I think the most important thing with that was, as you said it, like, there's a time and place for everything. And my whole mindset too is like, if there's a market for, if there's a demand for any type of music and you provide it, a market is gonna happen and it's gonna thrive in some environment. Yeah, there's music for people that worship Satan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then on the complete other side, there's worship music.
Yeah.
And there's everything in between.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think, like, when it comes to music and creativity, any kind of art, we've seen it before. You can't stifle it, and can't stop it.
When you try to ban something or stifle something,
it blows up even more, right? So I think, like, in the case of certain genres, especially of Caribbean music, whether it's dancehall or it's soca or it's nasty business or it's zest or Trinidad, whatever you want to call it.
I think the zest and Trinidad thing stepped on toes because it didn't really have because it has roots in Trinidadian culture, which is it's gonna bleed into the soca culture, and people were like, we don't want this tied into the soca brand. And that was what the issue was. Like, oh yeah, you're nastying up the soca, and I respond, this ain't soca. This is not
soca.
It's not, but that's how they push it. And then
well, I before the country, I think, like, part of it too is that people don't know. Like, the average consumer still doesn't know the difference between bouillon and soca music.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's where like, DJs will know it, artists will know it, that kind of stuff. But, like, let's say, bro, I'm just an average person. I live and work in New York. I want to go to a fete, right? And I go, or I want to go, you know, Miami Carnival for the first time, right? because all my friends have gone and I go on the road. And I go by one truck and they're only playing like Trini Soca
Okay.
that I know. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then I go to a next truck and it's full on nasty business,
Yeah.
right? And then I go to this other truck and let's say they might be playing Zest.
Mm-hmm.
So that one average consumer, that whole thing
is Soca.
It's the same.
It's the
thing
same shit.
Yeah,
for them.
and that's someone said that to me in London. They were like, "I don't like soca, but I like the soca you make," and I was like,
Right.
cool."
Yeah. And it all comes down to preference, right? For me, as someone who's a little bit more of, I would say, like a consumer and a fan of all these genres of music, know the difference. I know for me personally, if I want nasty business, like I will go to an adult like Juve party or something like that, right? Personally, for me, I don't like hearing it on the road during Carnival. It's just it's not why I'm there. Because that's not what I want to feel.
Okay.
Right? But I know other people who may want that.
Mm-hmm.
And am I going to say to them, no, nasty business doesn't deserve a place on the road?
Mm-hmm.
It's not my place to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If people demand it, some DJ or some Carnival band is going to give it to them.
And this is what I'm talking about.
You know what I mean? That just won't be where I spend my money to go.
The business
you know?
of soca is the subsidiary of the Carnival business.
Yeah.
And until we can figure out how that can be autonomous, it'll always be, how does Carnival feel about this? Before anything, before streams, before music videos, before the lyrics come, before TikTok, it's how does Carnival feel about TikTok? How does Carnival feel about Zest? And that's what I'm saying. Everything is always gonna go back to that. And that is a problem.
For sure.
Yeah. I could totally understand that. I think though part of that might have to be with okay, when it comes to Carnival, sometimes I don't think that it's the tradition that's the problem as much as it is the politics of the people involved with like who runs that scene, right? Because I think if they came in and they modernized it and they were like, all right, you know what? I think there is a way for them to do something where it's like we can have soca music be something that we can accept and include in the Carnival scene and still push to the world. But there is a way that they can balance all that with the tradition that they have. I think the problem is right now is that everybody is stuck on kind of like either or, and nobody wants to explore a way to do what millennials do best, which is like find a way to have tradition meet with technology and modernity and like find a way to make it all work. Because I do think there's a way to make it work. I don't have the answer for it.
Of course there's a way.
You know what I mean?
Of course there's a way.
But like I think that there is a place for all types of not just soca music, but Caribbean music in the space for Carnival.
Well,
but
a perfect example of that are the American carnivals, because everyone is from everywhere, so you gotta give everybody their place on the road. So it shows that it can work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then
theoretically, the music releases year round. It's just for different countries.
Well, this is my thing, right? Because it's bound to the Carnival shit. Because of that, I have a touring season and a recording season. So my recording season is generally like January to like May. Bro, I recorded like 20 songs this year, right? Now, in the last like month, I put out like 5. I didn't put out 5. The producers put out 5 because they have to align it with their Carnival season. So now it looks like, Klassik's putting out mad music. That shit been recorded. But we are slaves to the Carnival industry. That's why, and my gripe about it is like, I don't live on the respective islands to take advantage of that. Because I don't have I'm in this country, so let's do the radio runs and let's do this and let's do that, and then it'll break on the road and then it'll bust because this, I got TikTok. That's all I got. Only God can stop TikTok. Nobody's opinion, no politician, no producer, no promoter, no DJ can stop TikTok. Because TikTok is direct to consumer, and once it busts, Bitch, do you miss me? I'm sitting on my toilet drinking whiskey. Bro, TikTok gonna pick it up, bro. So it's proof that TikTok is proof that we don't need to be bound by the Carnival schedule, but people are still going to do it.
I think a thing with Carnival too is that. Oh, so here's my take on it. Right? I do think that it's important more than ever to have soca music not be tied to the season. I mean, I think a lot of people can agree on that. Like everybody. That's almost like the one thing that like most people will agree on, right? Everybody will say like, yeah, we shouldn't have soca only tied to Carnival because it's best if the genre goes, then that's kind of good for everybody, right? I think where people start to get weird about things is at to what level are they willing to accept things to change, right?
Oof.
And that's why I was telling you. So like, and I mean, I've seen it in like the generation above us and even those before. When you look at,
I remember when niggas wouldn't even get on TikTok. They said they're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And
I was made fun of for being on TikTok.
Yeah.
I remember that
same group we in.
I remember that, bro. I remember it where certain artists was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Now it's if you ain't on TikTok,
your music get busting.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to be on it.
The pressure of having to make a hit every year.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I go Jamaica and thing, man, them have them song I rinse for 2, 3, 4 years. There are some that they make a whole. You know what dancehall? What I see with dancehall people like when they do bust recently, they'll have 1 year just 5 bangers, right? And then they'll live off them 5 bangers for
It's catalog.
for 5 years. Soca, you have to make hit song every fucking year, bro.
So the first time one of the artists that I heard say something really relevant about that actually on Ojo was actually Mr. Killa. And he was probably the only artist so far I've heard like publicly kind of say anything about it. I'm sure there are others have said it. But it was the same thing. It was one of my favorite quotes by him was he was like, music wasn't really meant to be made and just die.
Yeah, bro. They'll kill the song.
Yeah.
There are certain people last year that were everywhere.
Yeah.
And now they are nowhere because they are expected to make something else. And it has to do with the road march tradition, and it has to do with Monarch.
That is one of the disadvantages I would say that I've seen in soca over the years, because it didn't always used to be like that. You know, it used to be like yes, artists made songs every year, but you would still have hit songs from throughout the years that would still play. And I feel like as the years have kind of gone on from like especially from like the 2010s to like now, it's like it's this crazy expectation that because everything was made for a competition.
Like put this into perspective, ladies and gentlemen. We just broke down that a hit song could cost $20,000 US, and it could fluctuate up to like 40, maybe even 50 if your shit not really connecting the way. You're telling people that they're expected to have a disposable income of $50,000 every year. And think about it. You could shell out the 20 to 40 grand and flop. Not recoup. Every year. That's not insane to you?
That's also not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Yeah.
And that's the thing with Zest, right? So Zest doesn't fall into the soca thing. So no one really looks at it away like, well, that song came out a couple years ago because it's in its own thing. But if it was a soca song, it would have been like, all right, so what's the next one? You know what I'm saying? And that's unreasonable and unfair. Kendrick Lamar don't even put out music every year.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to.
We shouldn't have to.
Rihanna hasn't put
This
out
is
music
big
in how long?
songs.
Yeah, Rihanna hasn't put out music in how long?
Big,
She
yo,
could
bro.
disappear and come back and be a number one.
Some songs big differently, bro. And then it's just like, all right, delete it. Next. What you mean next?
Yeah.
You didn't even get to save her.
But we treat the music as is.
Well, listen. This is what I'm gonna get it right.
All right.
So like you had this thing where long time ago, carnival bands were like it was all about like themes and art and expression and costumes and how everybody was on board to exemplify that theme, right? So if Peter Minshall made like Paradise Lost, so how do you represent the Garden of Eden through costumes, and how do you make the best presentation? That's really how it like was.
Yes.
over the years now start to become like what you said, where Soca becomes a subsidiary of Carnival to push Carnival as a business.
Yes.
Understood? So what I'm kind of seeing now, and I've seen this change over the years, is that it was like all the bands would kind of, if you made a hit song, all the bands are playing that song.
Okay.
Right? Year Bungie made Differentology, made history because during Juve, all the trucks, I don't know if it was all the bands or just Tribe or what it was, all the trucks shut off the fucking music, sun was coming up, and there was an agreement where they would all fucking play Differentology. Insane to think about that, to hear that sound while the sun is rising and you're in the streets in Trinidad and Tobago, right? What we're seeing now more and more, and this is the way I think it's going to go, is that Carnival is no longer going to be a one size fits all experience, like how it was with the parents' generation of mass being expressions of themes and togetherness and revelry and rebellion. It's going to be more so bands themselves are going to become brands that give you an experience that you're looking for. And we've already seen that's already happening with the Tribe bands.
Yes.
You have bands based on not just music, but bands based on race, demographic, age, sexuality, social status. So what's going to happen is how I speculate things will happen is that you want a band that gives you tradition, culture, more conservative kind of older school values. You're going to have to go with this band to do that. You want a band that's going to give you like wildness and not be bound by only playing, let's say, Trinidadian soca music, and you want a band that's going to do nasty business, dance, all this, that, then there's going to be a band that's going to give that to you, right? And if you want something that's somewhere in the middle, there's gonna be a band that's gonna give that to you.
But then that's still soca living within Carnival, though.
In terms of experiencing soca during a Carnival season, yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like it's gonna be this thing where you're only confined now to soca while you're having a Carnival experience, right? So I think it's one of the things that we have to like do is, yes, you have to break soca away as a genre from only being tied to Carnival. But I think on the other side too, to still be able to keep Carnival thriving, you still have to be able to deliver experiences to people of all in that entire spectrum.
But here's the missing puzzle piece in your equation.
Yeah,
we need to build a listening audience for soca, because what the other big problem that people don't talk about is that most people who listen to soca, I'd say the vast majority of them, are people who only go to Carnival and Fets. Outside of Carnival and Fets, they're not taking the time to learn the music, stream it, and we need that audience too.
I don't think that's the audience's flaw. I think that's an infrastructure problem. And
yes and no, because to your point, you brought up Japan, you brought up Germany, you brought up Ibiza. There are people in those countries that listen to soca that's never been to Carnival.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, when you say people only consume it at Carnival and stuff like that, it's because it's still tied to that, even from a lyrical point of view. So it's even harder to consume the music if you are not living in that experience. So I can only speak for myself. Okay, boom. I'm going to talk outside of myself. We take shots to the head, hit, deliver. You don't have, that's not a Carnival exclusive beat, and it's not a Carnival exclusive lyric.
Correct.
So it can exist outside of that. Even with too much, like, it's not exclusive to that. And I designed it to try to get away from that. And I also designed it to, I marketed it in a way outside of that also. So like everybody else on the rhythm, they pushed the song for, I don't know, like 6 months or some shit, and then like stopped.
Then moved on.
Because it popped where they were, and that was good enough for them. I can't do that. I have to make sure this pops everywhere. So to this day, I haven't stopped pushing that record and marketing that record and putting money into that record. While I can't say that for anybody else on that rhythm. So that, and well, let's move on to the next thing is hurting the genre. Bad business practices, bad contracts, short-term goals are hurting the genre. Like, I don't even think niggas expect their songs to be played past 300 days. They don't even fathom that. That's insane. You know, from I feel like,
I mean, we have some artists who don't even perform the songs that they released 2 days ago. Some artists will put out a record and not push it, not perform it. Anyway, but they spent the same 15,000 we spoke about on the record.
well, there's some back stuff to that sometimes too. Sometimes they're getting fucked.
Could be.
Because I've been in a situation where I had a legal issue with a song. I parked that song. That song was in my pocket until my litigation and everything sorted it out. That was that. Because I'm not pushing a record. I ain't making money off of. You insane? So sometimes that happens, and I believe that a lot of times that's what's going on. There's some type of background issue, and it's like a silent boycott.
Which is cool, but what about those who just don't have the confidence in the songs to begin with, right? Because that happens too.
I mean, I've not come across someone to say that, but you know,
I'll give you an example off camera.
okay, but but I can say like because I know where the song is gonna be consumed, I try my best to satisfy. Like I have like a checklist. So the song I have to play, not necessarily on the road, but song I have to play at FET, at club, and TikTok. If I could check those off, then it can function. And I have to be able to perform it. Some people write songs forgetting that they're gonna have to perform it, and then so they can't execute it to its best extent. So like even if you look at a lot of my songs, I don't really have a lot of background vocals or auto-tune or a lot of shit because I want you, it's gonna sound the same. I want it to sound the same way you heard it in your ears is how I want you to hear it on stage. Right. And then even when I write my songs, I try to be able to say the whole song, like just sing it straight through before I even click save. Some people can't sing a bar, correct, because they didn't write it with the intention to be performed. So that might play a role also. You said homeboy might not be confident in it.
Homeboy,
homegirl, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is, man. You got to give it a shot, man. I can say, bro, in entertainment as a whole, people are a lot more forgiving than you think they are. As long as you can be successful, you could fuck up 1,000,000 times, bro. That one time it works, you're forgiven. People forget about all the times you fucked up. And then you could just keep fucking up again, and then they're gonna forgive you again, bro. So I don't really get too caught up in making mistakes or flopping, bro, because someone might talk about it for like a week, and then them same people that be like, oh, him flop or that shit wasn't good, gonna be the same niggas on your dick when the next song busts. Yeah. And they're gonna act like it never happened. So I don't really get caught up in being scared to fail, scared to try out new sounds, try out new producers, work with certain artists. Cause, bro, once you reach the hit again, people forget all your shortcomings, bro. Bro, the first time I performed on stage, it was a disaster. Like literally everything that could ever go wrong went wrong. No one. There had to be like 300 people there. No one speaks about that shit. All they speak about is that clip that I'll put on TikTok and then it'll get 1,000,000 views. Nobody even, and that's people don't even think like, yo, maybe there was a point in time where he couldn't perform. Maybe there was a point in time where bro, people think because, and that like, they see the video with the 1,000,000, that's all it ever was. And it's not. Yeah. There was a lot of fuck ups and a lot of videos that didn't hit 1,000,000 before that. You know what I'm saying? And I pride myself with trying not to come across infallible. I feel like in soca, people try to come across like they are perfect and they don't make mistakes.
Right.
So when they do make mistakes, it's the end of the world. Wow, if I make a mistake, they'd be like, it's classic. I don't try to keep that clean, goody two shoes in. Real people aren't like that.
Correct.
That's how people like kill themselves and shit. Like, because they create this persona that they have to live up to that's just impossible.
Yeah.
So, nah, bro, like, failure is part of the process. And it's the bridge to, it's a stepping stone to success. And if you're not scared to fail multiple times, you're not going to succeed, bro. And no one's ever going to hold you accountable for your failures once you succeed. No one gives a shit. So I don't. You know how much songs, bro? Man, listen, enough songs not reach, you know. And then there are other songs that reach and people don't even catch. Some songs people don't even know I'm the same person. I didn't know you sang this and this. You was in this mix and that mix. You sound different. I'm like, you know, plant seeds. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's all like a really good perspective, bro. And I think that's one of the things that make you unique as an artist. And I think that a lot of things, you know, not just life circumstances, but also think you make a lot of conscious, smart decisions to make yourself stand out.
Thank you.
As an artist.
Thank you.
And you try to be strategic and calculated about what you're going to do. And I also think one of the important things too is that you know who you're serving.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because you can't serve everybody.
You can't.
It's impossible. Especially you can't even just say, "Oh, I want to serve Caribbean people." Because even that is too.
It doesn't work like that.
It does not work. You know what I mean?
Just from school, like I learned that in school. But like you said, like I know who I'm serving. The worst conversation I have with an artist, because people ask me, "What advice can you give?" Or you know, "What can you help me with this?" And this is not. And the first thing I asked them, I said, "Who's your target audience?" They'd be like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Well, we can't talk."
Exactly.
This conversation is over before it started. I'm like, if I fuck with you, I'll be like, open your Spotify artist or your Apple for artists. What's that, bro? So you just make music just for the fuck of it. You don't have no concrete evidence to back up anything, your song choices.
That's because our industry doesn't believe in data-driven decisions.
What the fuck, bro? Like, boom. Like, I can say off the top of my head, without even opening my phone, my highest streams are New York, UK, and Toronto.
Oh yeah, overlap.
So I always have to bear, because I'm in a service, I'm serving them. So I'll big up my people, them, you know, I'll big up boroughs, I'll big up certain spots. But I wouldn't be able to make those decisions if I didn't see it. So a lot of people are just shooting in the dark and wondering why they're not successful because you don't even know who likes you. And make it be clear, not everyone likes you. And a lot of times, not even the people you want to like you are going to like you. So you got to figure out like, oh shit,
So
I'm Trini, but all my streams come from St. Lucia. Maybe I need to reach out to this producer. Then you could, and then you look at the Shazams. You'd be like, wait, they Shazammed me here? Who the fuck is playing my shit over there? You got to make some calls. Yo, you heard my shit? Who's DJ so-and-so? Yo, let me get his Instagram. Like, I look at that shit, bro. I hit Gel up, bro.
yeah.
I hit if I have a reputation in this industry, I'm going to reach out to you. I'm going to be like, yo, bro, I need you to put this in this mix. I remember, and I'll never forget this, I hit up Gel, and he got frustrated with me. He's like, yo, bro, why me? Why you keep bothering me specifically? I'm like, because you break records. He's like, I don't think so. I'm like, yes, you fucking do it, bro. If someone
we
puts
saw
your
that
shit,
with Looking Good, actually.
bro,
It's a true story.
bro, I told him, you break records, bro. You have that push. And he's like, you sure, bro? And I'm like, just do me the favor, bro. And bro, he broke the record, bro. Like,
Looking Good and the other song in the Archon band with him. Like that.
yeah. You like literally, bro, like Gel, you could break records. Like if you halfway like something, bro, and throw it in, it's gonna pop. And that's just how it works. So but that's me, bro. I'm gonna DM you. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna show up to your shit. I'm gonna talk to you. You feel me? I advocate for myself, and that's something that I feel like other people don't do.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do it, bro, because data driven decisions.
Speaking of, before we wrap up, you mentioned New York, UK, Toronto. Is that also the reasoning? Because I follow you too.
Yeah.
Behind the college tour circuit, how that came about?
Yes and no. It is tied. So people be like, how come you do a lot of shows in Massachusetts? If I'm not mistaken, Massachusetts has one of the most colleges in the United States.
Yes.
So that's not a coincidence. So people be like, and then I get a lot of streams from Massachusetts too. They're like, how is that? Caribbean people, because it's different Caribbean people from different places in school playing it at one time. So my fan base are women between 18 and 24, college girls. So it wasn't, so like.
And that's who he's making music for.
It's not even that I make music for them. They just happen to like my shit. And I just happen to give them back. But
it makes sense though, in terms of your lyrical content, and within that age, for a lot of people, men and women in that age, especially when they go to university, what are they doing?
Exploring their sexuality. You know what's crazy? Why I like the Zest music more is because I can do lyrical acrobatics. I can do punchlines. I can go bar for bar, line for line. There's a lot of niggas that can't go bar for bar. Even though I'm talking funny shit, if you dissect the words, it's going hard. Yeah. And I enjoy doing that. I just disguise my lyrical ability in humor. And that's another thing that's very important about this industry is you cannot take yourself too seriously. You got to be able to laugh at certain shit. You got to be able to make jokes and just make light of a situation, or else it's gonna eat you up, bro. Some things are that serious, but like for me, I have a rule: like fans are fans. They can say whatever the fuck, however the fuck. It is their right. It's their entitlement. Fans can do whatever the fuck they want to do because they're ignorant. They don't know what's going on.
Right.
But if I feel like a colleague says something to me or moves with me a certain way, I'm gonna approach it differently because you know better. You know what I'm saying? And you know that if you come at me a certain way, it could damage my career. So some people have said some certain shit about me, and I called their phone. I went to their house. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh, trust me, after the gatekeeper comment last episode, I've had to do the same.
Yeah, niggas, listen, gatekeeping is real, blackballing is real. I was blacklisted for like a year. I pissed off somebody, and
so you're confirming this is true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nigga blacklisted me. I had an argument with somebody, and then one day, that was it. My lights was out. No beats, no rhythms, nothing. Quiet. And all it took was for a person to say something, and everyone was just like, okay. They didn't know if it was true or not. They just took this person's word for it, and I was lights out. Cool. I'm going on the internet. I don't need to be validated by you niggas. I just need my fans.
Right.
And then, yeah, man, like, blacklisting, blackballing, all of that is very real. It is also part of the reason why you'll see certain people be around one year and be all in a mix and be all next to these artists and all these producers and everybody's them friend, and then next year nothing. Them can't get on stage, no visa, no rhythm, no nothing. And I've had colleagues. I told them, bro, yo, when you reach US, bro, link me. Them to link me. You know why? Because they want to get on the big stage. And they want to get on the big radio. For your little 30 days, then they throw you the fuck away. Should have linked me, bro. I could have made shit happen for you. I could make you own shit. But no. You got to jump when they say jump, hop when they say hop, and bark when they say bark. And the moment you say no or listen, I can't, you're out of here. So yeah, no, that's very, very, very real. And the best advice I could tell people in regards to that is make sure your contracts are right, make sure your splits are right, and go on TikTok, bro. These niggas gonna tell you that they can do this, this, and this, and this for you. TikTok can do all of that for you. And I use TikTok not as necessarily a literal construct, but there's always gonna be something to get you to consumer that you don't need to go through these dudes. Cause when they cut your lights out, bro, they'll cut your lights out, bro. And I was just like, okay, my lights is out, cool. I'm gonna call the other niggas you cut the lights out. Yo, you got some beats? That's how I got around it. Oh, you don't fuck with them either? Black is the code, baby. What's up? You got beats? You got a video man? You got that dancer? All right, let's make shit shake. You know what I'm saying? And that unification is important, bro. And I feel like the divide and conquer thing is real, bro. I feel like it's important for, you see how y'all link up and you have this, and I can come here and have this. Niggas don't want this. Niggas don't want this shit. They could, if they could throw a grenade down here.
Bro, it's very clear from the feedback on the last podcast. And remember, that one was just me and him talking as friends. Like, literally, like.
We didn't even bring up everything.
Bro, there was a lot more shit.
There's a lot more things
we held back,
said,
like, a lot of shit.
Named people. We was very surface level.
I mean, because for the time being, that's how you have to be, bro. Until you're bigger than your enemy, you can't really do too much. And they know they're out there, and they know they can't necessarily attack you without exposing themselves.
So my whole thing with that is, like, I've kind of looked at it where I don't need to say who they are. It's just more important for people to start talking.
I'm waiting for them.
You know what I mean?
To contact you and tell you, yo, you can do this with us. Don't do it with him. You can do this with us. That's what they do. They see people together and they be like, yo, boy. I could put you on.
There have been requests, and Jell and I have both turned them down.
Yeah, that's how they do. They divide it, then they fuck you, and then you have to come back and shame. And they've done that to many people, man. Yeah. So I'm very thankful that you have this platform. I'm very thankful for what you do, and I'm very thankful that you have the bravery and the skill set and the time and the passion to do this, because like people don't know, bro. Like the powers that be don't want things like this to exist.
I appreciate it, bro. No, and hearing your story, hearing everything you've gone through, I'm so glad that, like, I know Jell and you guys have known each other for a long time. I'm just sit here and, like, I just had to push the mic away and just listen most of the time, because I'm just, like, mind blown. Not just not just with your life, but also with the perspective that you have,
that most people don't know about.
And just how you see where things are going, bro. And I mean,
because I have outside perspective.
Yes.
A lot of people, they only have inside perspective, and a lot of people don't research. They just see something and say okay.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, a 5-minute Google can make a lot of sense out of a bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So
it's a lot easier to just follow than to lead. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And when I say lead, I don't mean lead other people. I mean lead yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's something that you do very well. And I think the path that you're taking in terms of kind of like this decentralization of music and owning what's yours and pushing it on your own, and not going to, like, this central entity or powers that be that are,
they just want too much.
They just want and they know that they can't stick around forever, and with each year that passes, trust me, they see it more and more, and they get more and more desperate as time goes on. And I think what you're doing is really forging a pathway, bro, for a lot of younger artists, because anytime I talk to, like, younger artists who want to do soca and stuff like that, like, they start out very much, they're like, I want to make music, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then within a year, 2-3 years, they're super disillusioned. No, for real. And
it's true.
And I feel bad for them, because I don't know how to necessarily always help them. And I want to, even though I have no stake in the shit, but I can see how important it is. And I can kind of in some ways see myself in a young artist who's struggling. You know what I mean? Because even for me with video, it was the same thing.
It's in their head, bro. I feel like niggas be struggling because they might be getting input from their 1,000 followers or the 10 people they're around.
I think for the ones I've spoken to, the biggest thing for them was that they're trying to please the wrong people.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're trying to get in with this people in the industry that don't really give a fuck or respect them.
Yes.
When in reality, what they need to do is do
fans.
it themselves.
Yeah, you need to reach out to your fans.
And they don't know how to. But for a young artist like you who has made that a priority, made data-driven decisions, and I kind of is crafting and tweaking this formula for success as time goes on, bro, I think it is one of the most unique things. So I'm grateful to have you here with us to talk about everything, bro, because it's not just enlightening for me, but I think it's going to be enlightening for everybody. And I'm super excited to see what the next, not just 30, 60, 90 days, but the next 5, 10, 15 years has for Klassik Frescobar, bro.
Thank you.
And I think you have a super bright future as an artist, and as for someone who cares about not just necessarily pushing soca per se to the world, but specifically Caribbean culture and yourself.
Thank you.
So big up to you. Before we wrap, let us know where people can find you. And
at Klassic Fresco, Klassik Fresco on everything, on all platforms. My music is everywhere. Make sure you stream it, add it to your playlist, do what you got to do, share with your friends. And I got a diverse catalog, so it's not all fuck songs. It just so happens that them songs are the most consumed, so anything that you want is there.
And don't forget, Black is the code, yeah?
Black is the code. Code away is no way. Big up the homies. Big up man like Gel, Phil,
Akio,
the father, Pana Flex, everybody, all my DJs in Florida and New York, Phenom, my boy DJ Prime in London. You get me? Yeah, man.
The team at the Soca Source.
The team at the Soca. Big up Soca Source, man. Big up Soca Source. Big up We Match. You know, big up the bloggers, cause y'all help a lot of us get around the mafia shit. So, you know, stuff like Soca Leaks, stuff like Soca Orphan, stuff like even Team Soca is more liberal now with what things are posted, open-minded. Yeah. What's the other one? Rematch with Cindy made. You know, them blogs are more concerned about the fans and not the narrative. So it's they help us get music out that would not get out if the powers that be had a say so. You know?
Yep. Much love though, bro. I'm happy to have you on, and yes, for all everybody listening, be sure to check us out again on the Soca Analyst, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. As we always love to say, big up and bless.
The Soca Analyst. Caribbean culture to the world. Subscribe now on YouTube, iTunes, Podcasts, and Google Play Music.